Welcome to Scorched Earth and your All Signs General Week Ahead reading from the 7th to the 13th of June 2021. I hope you're well. I'm using the Llewellyn Tarot for you today, and I hope that the Mercury retrograde is being kind to you and you're using it in the best way possible. Right, I think you know the structure by now, so I'm not going to rattle through that. I don't think I have anything to tell you at this time. So we're going to start off with Aries and a theme for the week. Can I have a theme for the week for Aries, please? And we can. We have the Knight of Swords. Interesting Gemini energy right there. It's all about communication. But with the caveat that sometimes communication that's brought by the Knight of Swords can be a little bit fast, a little bit intense, a little bit much. So wow, watch your words this week and make sure that what you say is actually what you mean. And if you're not sure, don't be concerned about the need to just slow down and make sure that you're thinking first. This Knight of Swords energy here. We've got the Queen of Cups and the Ten of Pentacles. Yeah, so it does feel like it's a week where the compassionate communication is key. So think before you speak. Don't give yourself don't hamstring yourself by responding before you've thought through the full implications of what it is that you're about to say. I think is the best way to navigate this energy here. We do have the Hanged Man at the bottom of the deck, so it could well be that you find yourself kind of altering your position, shifting your position when you give yourself time to think first, you know. And on the other end of the scale, if you've got communication coming into you, first off, try not to take anything too personally this week, but be compassionate towards the other person as well as yourself in regard to whatever this is coming in. So if you've got somebody saying something that triggers you, right, first off, halt and identify why that trigger's there in the first place, because it's not exactly what's in front of you, it is something else. And then don't allow that to kind of pull you into a negative mindset. Like, compassion is key, and particularly with family this week, I think. Like I said, you know, compassion towards yourself primarily, but in all of your dealings. If you can possibly try and bring that in at any point, then the week will go better for you, I think. Let's have a look at love and relationships, interpersonal relationships. We have the Six of Pentacles. Now, that is a card of balance. It's a card of keeping things in alignment or bringing things into alignment. So where things might have been a little bit off kilter, a little bit off balance, it looks like you'd be able to bring this in. And I wonder if part of this is this compassionate way that you are treating both yourself and the people that you are dealing with this week. And that's Six of Pentacles. Ooh, that one wanted to come out. We've got the Sun there. It's the card of Leo. So if you're dealing with a Leo, that might be pertinent. If not, it's about keeping joy. And positivity front and foremost. Now, if you've watched any of my videos before, you'll know that I'm not someone who subscribes to the cult of positivity, right? This need to keep everything light and positive all the time, because sometimes there are dark things that require, you know, focused attention from you. Those things that you don't really want to look at, they need to come up, they need to be processed. But it seems to me, if there's been any stress in your relationships, this week it starts to lift, right? We've got this Three of Swords here, but it is in the reverse. There is the beginnings of healings beginning to start showing up here. And it feels like a lightening of the spirit. You know, whatever's been dragging you down, particularly with regard to the way that you've been communicating with people. You know, it could be that with this compassion that you are practicing for yourself, that everything's just kind of naturally coming back into balance, naturally aligning. Like maybe it is that you've been coming from a bit of a wounded place. Or maybe you've been focusing too hard on things that have hurt you. Well, this week gives you a chance to be sat in more of a state of gratitude, actually, for the people that are around you. We have the Nine of Cups at the bottom of the deck, and that is, you know, your happiness. It's your personal responsibility for your own happiness, not kind of laying that at the feet of other people, whether that is through blame or you know, codependence or any of those kind of things. This is about you taking responsibility for all of that yourself. And if some of that is going to involve you changing the way that you think, changing your perspective on something, this week looks like it's going to be quite significant for that happening. But it does feel like a release of tension here, and it doesn't necessarily mean that it's, you know, somebody coming and apologizing for something that they've said or anything like that. It feels like you altering your mindset on something and concentrating more on your own happiness than anything else. Maybe you've been giving just a little bit too much recently, and you realize the reason why you've been giving too much. And that's sufficient for you to start bringing your energy back to yourself. Let's have a look at work, money and material environment. What here? Well, we have the Justice card in reverse with the Eight of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. So, I mean, first off, if you're dealing with anything, any kind of legal issues, we might be finding some hiccups with that this week. You know, the Justice card, interestingly, is all about balance and alignment, and you know, somewhat consequences too. Carrying across from your relationships, it's really quite interesting that we see sort of like an uptick here and a bit of a pull down here. And it does actually feel, oh, there's a Six of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck here. It does actually feel like there's something in your material environment, whether this is to do with work, and I think for the most of you it is possibly to do with work, and moreover, people at work, that there's some sort of injustice that occurs this week, some sort of something that leaves you feeling out of balance. But we have the Magician and the World clarifying it here. There are opportunities here for you. It's almost like you're being pushed to be uncomfortable so that you can pull something to an end. Now, whether that is, you know, leaving that situation altogether, that's possible. Or whether you are finally drawn to confront that situation. Like, whatever it is, you have the tools at your disposal with this Magician card here to draw an end to whatever is out of balance, whatever is feeling unjust. And create a new opportunity off the back of it. Yeah, we've got the Emperor card here. That's your card, Aries, right there. It is about taking charge. It's about regaining control of a situation. Because there's something that feels like it's slipped sideways. It might be because you've been emotionally distracted by other things. I do feel like the relationships have been a bit tricky to navigate for you recently. But as those are coming back into alignment, it's almost like you can see where you took your eye off the ball over here, and you can see what's been going on. And you're like, actually, no, that's not going to fucking fly either. I'm going to sort that out too. So whether it is the creation of new opportunities off the back of it, or whether it is you being pushed to be so uncomfortable that finally you make a change, or whether it is just standing up for yourself and asserting yourself, any of those are possible. We see the Ten of Wands at the bottom of the deck here, and whilst that does talk about burden and things being too hard, possibly taking on too much responsibility, you know, maybe carrying other people in your work environment, something like that. I like it in the Triple Goddess because the wands have been put down. Like, this is taking a break, this is taking a breather, regrouping, which does seem to be what is going on here. And if it's not to do with work, it could well be to do with your finances. Whatever it is, it actually seems quite, the Justice card being in the reverse doesn't actually bother me that much. It's more like you kind of noticing it and going, well, shit, I need to sort that out right now, you know, and then getting it done. It feels like it starts off feeling uncomfortable and it ends with you kind of being, you know, asserting your Aries self over this and kind of putting everything right now. The Emperor card is, for me, often a card of, you know, really getting your shit together. And it feels like this is what's happening this week. So let's move on to your point of focus for the week. Can I have a point of focus for Aries, please? Thank you. We have the Four of Wands. Creation of a new foundation. Interestingly, it's contrasted with the Seven of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. So this is a week to look at the things that are making you uncomfortable, the things that are not feeling like they're working well. Because the energy seems to be suggesting that this is a good time for you to start, you know, clearing out those old things. Let's not forget we're in Mercury retrograde and, you know, bringing things to completion, closing out old stuff. Tidying up at loose ends is a very good use of this energy. But it seems like it's in preparation for this new foundation that you are actually actively trying to construct for yourself at the moment. I think this is why the energy has been really challenging for Aries over the last couple of weeks. It's almost like, I think one of the most frustrating things about when you're coming to the end of a cycle is that you can sort of smell the new cycle coming in. And there's such an urge to run towards that and really, you know, embrace it. Particularly when things have been really challenging. And then you end up, you know, slap bang in the middle of a Mercury retrograde and it's like, you just sort of tethered a little bit and it's like, no, you can't go just yet, you've got these things, you know. Mercury's very detail oriented, you know, and whilst you're absolutely on track for creating something new and something much more joyous than where you have been, it's something that's a bit more peaceful and certainly a lot more stable. There are loose ends that need tying up before you can move on. Yeah, we've got the Three of Wands there following the Seven of Pentacles. Okay. Because it could well seem that this week, the things that you are, the irritating details that you're having to deal with seem very unrelated to the new that's coming in for you. And I do get that sense of that new thing coming in here. But I think that they're actually more closely related than you feel that they are at the moment. So it's worth spending a bit of time just tying up all of those loose ends before you try and move forwards too much. We've got, ooh, yeah, we've got the Eight of Wands and we've got the Fool coming out here, right? It's the new start, your new start. It's another card of Aries right there. So it's a really strong presentation of your energy. Both cards in the reading here. The momentum is building, but don't get distracted by all of the new. Right? There are some loose ends to be tied up first, and then it's almost like you could start with a bang instead of like half of a fizzle, you know. Because you've done the groundwork, you're going from a place that is really stable into the new. We've got here Knight of Pentacles as well. It's like, it is details, it is the mundane stuff, it is the boring stuff, it is really, you know, worth spending that time getting your shit together. You know? So let's have a look and see what Aries should not do this week. What do we have here? Ooh, Seven of Cups. Don't let yourself get too distracted, you know. The Seven of Cups is a card of illusion. There's sometimes emotional confusion. And I think this is almost a week where if you try and pull back too much, if you try and elevate your position too much to see the new coming in, you're kind of missing the details of the old that are sitting here that are waiting for you to wrap them up. And I could see you getting sort of stuck in a bit of a circle here, you know, like trying really hard to push out towards the new, but it feels like the energy is going like, no, patience, wait. you've got to deal with all of these things first. Have a look at 7 of Pentacles. Oh, we've got the King of Wands and we've got the Chariot. Yeah, I mean, the message is really clear, Aries. It's like it's not a week for movement forwards. It's not a week for charging towards your goals. It's not a week actually for, you know, a great exciting new activity. It's a week of taking care of the things that remain first. Whatever it is that the 7 of Pentacles signifies to you this week. And it's going to be the boring, it's going to be the mundane, it's going to be anything other than what you really wanted to spend your time doing this week. That's the sort of thing that you need to look at, unfortunately. But like I said, it's going to make your new start that much stronger, even if it doesn't feel like it's particularly related to where it is that you want to go and what it is that you want to do. You'll see further down the line that this was worth doing, I think. So let's clear these away around, and we will move on to Taurus, Sun, Moon or Ascendant for the 7th to the 13th of June. Let's give them a big shuffle. It's an absolutely beautiful day here in the north. I hope it's nice where you are. Right, I have a theme for the week for Taurus, please. Thank you. We have the 4 of Wands. That is delightful, Taurus. I love that. 4 of Wands is, well, it's just a glorious card no matter what it deals with. And your whole week this week is 4 of Wands energy. Now, this is the creation of a new foundation. And I think that, you know, Taurus has got very good kind of integrating these new things into, you know, your foundational level energy. There's a fluidity with the 4 of Wands, almost like it's almost like a feeling of transience that I'm getting off here, but not shifting entirely from one thing to another, but a kind of transience in the building. Like your new foundation is not yet entirely constructed, but it really is taking shape, and you can see the form of it now. And so it's this continual process of bringing things in, just like the water's flowing through the card there. That fluidity is really strong. Navigating the week. Oh, that's lovely. We have the 2 of Cups and we have the Temperance card. So Temperance is the card of Sagittarius. Right there. So it could be that you've got, you know, some, if you've got any Sagittarians around you, it could be that there is some healing of a relationship that has gone before. It could be that you're meeting a new person who is a Sagittarius. But if none of those apply, it could well just be you bringing an element of harmony to the closest relationships around you. The 2 of Cups doesn't just speak to me about intimate relationships, it speaks specifically to me about intimacy. And so it could be that the intimacy that is being healed is your ability to be intimate with other people on a level that does not compromise your independence or anything like that. Because codependence is something that Taurus has struggled with at times. It's like it's finding the right way to conduct your relationships that doesn't take from you, it doesn't require you to give. And it's even, it's balance, you know, the Temperance card is about that kind of, well, that balance, you know, and often in the Rider-Waite, certainly, the angel is depicted as pouring from one cup into another. It's filling your own cup first. The whole trifecta of cards there speaks to very, very harmonious relationships this week, and ultimately springing from you because of the way that you are showing up now, rather than necessarily those people who are around you. But you could well see new people coming in this week. And if you do, they are people who are meant to be part of your tribe. You know, the resonance that that Taurus is kicking out now is of a different frequency to where you were this time last year. And it does feel like perhaps some of you are calling in a new tribe. But it's so peaceful. It's really glorious. I like it a lot. Right, let's have a look specifically at love and relationships. Any kind of relationship. Tell me about Taurus and interpersonal relationships, please. We have the Judgment card. So this is quite interesting. You could well be seeing people from the past reappearing. Now remember that we are in a Mercury retrograde, and that's a very common occurrence with this energy. You know, we've got old people popping up. It could well be that what you're doing is actually harmonizing and bringing some peace to relationships that have been a little bit rocky in the past. Now, I want to emphasize that it is not for you to necessarily go and be peacemaker with these. And certainly with the Judgment energy being here, I don't feel you returning to old people. I feel like other people popping up for you. And sometimes they don't even need to necessarily physically show. You know, sometimes it can be, you know, you bump into a friend in the supermarket and they're like, oh, you never guess who I am, who I bumped into a couple of days ago, you know. This person from 5 years ago, you know, your ex or something like that. Could be an ex, doesn't have to be. We're talking about interpersonal relationships. So it could just be, it would more likely just be somebody who had been important in some way or another to you in the past. Now, the reason why it's common with the retrograde energy is because it gives you an opportunity to really apply this new way of seeing the world that you now have to an old situation, right? It is an additional level of healing that is opened to you. We absolutely see that with the Temperance card here. You know, it could be that it shows you, actually, let's pull some cards for Judgment here. We've got the Wheel of Fortune, we've got the Two of Wands, which is interesting. I did notice that we've got the Sagittarian card of the Knight of Wands here for you. So this could be a Sagittarian from your past for sure. But we've got the Fool card at the bottom of the deck here. And I wonder if it's more one of those situations where you hear about somebody who used to be important to you, whether it was a friend or, you know, whatever. Or you bump into them, or you see them somewhere, or you read, you know, something online about them. Maybe a Facebook post pops up somewhere. And what it does is show you how far you've come, because it actually reminds you of where you were at that time when that person was around. You know, you can kind of see the difference in you. But this Wheel of Fortune and the Two of Wands is really interesting, because it does suggest to me that this week, whether it's being physically presented with a person or whether it's being reminded of a person, so it's rolling around in your consciousness, it actually harkens back to a point where you made a choice. And at the time, you may not have felt like you had a choice. You may have felt like you were kind of forced into it. But looking back in reflection, you can see that you changed the direction of your life quite strongly, because you made a decision that was really smart. And I don't think you enjoyed that decision at that point. I think that decision actually probably made you really quite sad. But it was almost like the first point where you started veering off in a new direction, you know, into this new Taurus that you have now become. And I don't think that you've thought about it really that strongly up until this point of, you know, memory jogging occurs. And it feels really pleasant, actually. Because not only does it indicate exactly how much you have healed since then from this situation, but also generally Like, you are a different person now, Taurus, altogether different. And you can see it for the important turning point that it was. I don't feel any sadness associated with it now. I see, I get it now. And this is really useful because this is a knowledge, this is a wisdom that you can take with you moving forwards too. So where there are situations that feel difficult, where there are situations that require you to make a challenging decision, it's almost like you can acquiesce to it a little easier than you did last time, because you know that there's always a point, you know that there's something better around the corner. And because you've got this ability now to look for what this energy is trying to teach you, you know, that ability to carefully introspect without getting lost in it, without overthinking it. All in all, I think that's a really, really good thing for you. I feel quite buoyant by it, actually. Like I said, it does feel like it's feeding into this new foundation that you're creating for yourself. Incredible fluidity, emotional fluidity as well. Yeah. That's my daughter. Let's look at work and material environment. We have the Devil card. Now, that's the card of it's a card of Capricorn in the Major Arcana, and it does deal with everything in the material world. Let's have a look and see what clarifiers we get, please. Tell me about the Devil card, please. Thank you. Page of Pentacles. I'm going to put these two back in because they fell to the right, and I don't take them when they fall to the right. Tell me about the Devil card for Taurus. Six of Pentacles. Right. Feel some disruption in your material environment. I'm not going to lie. Now, the Devil is often given to be, you know, toxic and awful things. But there is no card in the tarot that is all positive or all negative. You know, it contains elements of both. And so it does feel to me like you are paying a lot of attention to your material environment at the moment. We've got this Page of Pentacles here, you know, studying here quite hard. But we've got the Six of Pentacles that has come with it in the reverse. Now, this is something getting unbalanced here for you. Right. I think we've got a bit of muddy thinking going on about your material environment here. There seems to be something that's sending you a little bit sideways at the moment. There's an element of chaos being introduced to whether it's work or your material environment. It's hard to say. We've got the Empress card at the bottom of the deck. There are a number of different ways of looking at this. We've got the Five of Cups in reverse as a further clarifier, and we have the Star, which I feel probably did come out in reverse as well, but I picked it up and then put it the right way around. And we've got the King of Swords in reverse. So if you were dealing with an Aquarius anywhere, it could be that they are disrupting something, but it feels more like it's it feels more like it's a kind of confusion here. That there's something that you've been planning for that kind of gets knocked off course a little bit. Now, the important thing for this is that we do have the Empress at the bottom of the deck. Now, that's Taurus card there. And it is about fertility, and it is about abundance, and it is about new things coming in. But being the divine feminine, you know, she's got that element of chaos within her, although she is constructing order out of chaos. And so it does feel like there's some things going a little bit off course. that is going to necessarily destabilize you just a little bit, right? It's going to knock you off your perch a bit and you're going to be like, shit. But it doesn't feel like all is lost and everything is terrible. There's not that energy about it here at all. It does feel like it's making you a bit uncomfortable, but in exactly the same way that it was making that Aries was having that kind of being made to feel uncomfortable so that they would change something. I'm getting similar vibes here off these cards here for you, because we do have the Five of Cups in the reverse, which is important. So you're not getting stuck in the energy of it. You're able to kind of step back from it just a little bit. And with the Star here, it could well be, you know, what you had planned for the future. You know, the particular plan that you had set for where you were going. But it looks like it's getting knocked off course. Now, you can either roll with this and just see what happens. And I do feel like that might actually be the best course for you here. Right? Don't try and control the situation, just ride it out and see where it's going. And be prepared to adapt, right? Prepare to adjust your position a little bit if you need to. But it feels like there's an opportunity that is slightly sideways of where you thought you were going that's trying to come through here, and you need to be made to feel a little bit uncomfortable before you realise that the path that you're on here isn't quite the right one. It's because I do feel like the more that you push at this existing plan, the more it's going to start falling apart. Whereas if you just for this week just ride it out, and this could be for your finances, your work, you know, if you run a business, ideas that you've got about expansion or stuff like that, it feels very much that by the end of the week you will have a better idea of where you need to go. It's like a micro adjustment, but it's one that's going to make you feel a little bit uncomfortable first. The key is to bring in, you know, that patience. And just like we were seeing with your relationships there, the knowledge that everything happens for a reason, and sometimes it's worth just sitting with it and seeing what that reason is, because I do think that you'll get a clearer sense of it by the end of the week than you have at the beginning, and there is an opportunity in there for you if you can manage to be detached enough from you know, the deviation of the plan, enough to be able to see that there is another route that you can take, right? Put those over there. Tell me what Taurus should focus on this week, please. So this week, allowing things to end. There's something that's, like I said, there's some sort of shift. There's something that's trying to adjust itself out of being here for you this week. And at the moment, you can't see what it is. We do have the Moon card at the bottom of the deck, and then the King of Pentacles behind it, and the Magician. Okay. As yet unseen, changes are happening in the background. You will get a sense of what those are this week. And if you don't try and control the outcome, if you don't try and resist what is trying to close out, I think that you're going to have a much better time, because, like I said, there is a micro adjustment that's trying to take place here. How about 10 of Swords? Yeah. I also think it's a week for leading with your intuition. Like, it's just patience. Regulate your emotions about it, because no, this will have you feeling a little bit all over the place. And just wait and see. We've got the Four of Pentacles and the King of Swords, which has come out in the reverse again, which is really interesting. Like, don't try and logic your way out of this situation, right? This doesn't require you to think about something, you know, a novel way of approaching this. Like, it's not requiring any kind of mental dexterity from you at all. We've got the Knight of Cups at the bottom of the deck. This is sit, wait, be patient. Because I don't think that you'll see it. I don't think you'll see what this opportunity is unless you do that. And then lead with the heart, not with your head on this one. It's quite possible that if you allow your head too much to get into it, it'll probably try and talk you out of it. Certainly, it's a possibility if you're trying to resist what's trying to close itself out of your life anyway. So, roll with it this week. What should Taurus avoid, please? Thank you. Ace of Swords, yeah. We've got the Emperor card at the bottom of the deck, and we've got the Ace of Swords here, right? It's just avoid thinking too hard about it, right? Just try and take a very relaxed view on this week, and maybe more curiosity. You know, allow your curiosity rather than a need to be solution oriented about this, because I don't actually think that you need to come up with a solution for it. I think that this situation will arise, and if you sit with it patiently, it will also resolve itself, giving you a new opportunity in the process. Goodness, yeah. Oh shit. We've got the Tower and the Three of Swords at the bottom of the deck there. Like, if you can possibly manage it, staying detached is really good for you this week. If you think about things too much, if you allow yourself to get panic stricken by the way things are shifting underneath your feet, the transition is going to be quite difficult. But if you see this more as a micro adjustment, as a course correction, as a way of refining the route that you're taking, being detached and being, you know, just fluid and patient, I think that this will actually resolve very, very quickly. Very quickly indeed. I'm actually really curious now to know what this is about, because it looks dead interesting. Right, let's pop all of these cards away. Oh, you and you three. We'll go back here. So we will move on to Gemini. Sun, Moon or Ascendant. The 7th to the 13th of June. Can I have a theme for the week for Gemini, please? We have the Magician. That's wonderful. That's Gemini energy right there. So not only are you showing up really strongly in your own reading, you know, a really authentic expression of your energy, but we have everything that the Magician also implies. It's a powerful week. It's a week where you can do pretty much anything that you put your mind to. It certainly suggests that you have everything that you need. We have got the Page of Cups in reverse, and we've got the Chariot in the upright. We also have the Ten of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. This feels like a week for you to really push, Gemini, which is interesting. Like I said in the monthly readings for June, that I was kind of expecting the energy to hit Gemini the hardest, like, and for it to be a little bit difficult to navigate. But as the cards came out, I was like, well, I am wrong here. I am completely wrong, because it actually looks like it's going to be a really good month for you. And here we are. Looking at this, it seems very much like the time for being complacent, the time for kind of sitting and thinking about how you feel about stuff is done. It seems like you've done enough of that now, Gemini. It's about making a plan and starting on with it. You know, the Chariot card is a card of determination and willpower. It's a card of setting goals and achieving them. And when it's paired up with the Magician here, this is a very strong, very determined energy. So what it is that you've been thinking about, what it is that you've been wanting to put into play over the last few weeks. Right? Now is the time to start taking those, concerted actions towards it. It's not a time for sitting about. The energy is really, really strong for you to manifest what it is that you want for yourself. And it could be with regard to your business, it could be with regard to your home. It's something that you've increasingly felt a need to commit to, for sure, with that Ten of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck there. And it's like the message is, stop thinking about it and go and do it now, Gemini. The more you think about it, the more you're going to get yourself up in your head about it. It's actually just time to get out there and start doing it. Okay? So let's have a look at love and interpersonal relationships for Gemini. We have the Two of Cups. That's beautiful, with the Nine of Cups at the bottom of the deck. Now, I don't rush to the Two of Cups being a romantic partnership, although it absolutely can be. I see the Two of Cups as intimacy. Oh my God, I just split the deck and there it is again. It could be that you are meeting someone new this week. If you are looking for someone, that's certainly possible. For others of you, it feels like a deepening of a connection. And it feels like the connection is deepening not because of anything that's particularly happening around you, but more because you seem to have got in touch with yourself more. It's almost like you've performed a deeper level of intimacy on yourself. And that's had the result of allowing you to open to a deeper sense of connection with other people. Now, like I said, it could be a romantic situation, or it could be friends. It could be people that you are, your new tribe around you. It certainly feels like you're bringing something new to the table this week, Gemini. And it's not a new idea or anything like that. It's just a sense of self that is really, really strong. A sense of intimacy with self that is really strong. Oh, yeah, wow. We've got the Hanged Man and we've got the Nine of Pentacles. So that's two nines there. Like I said, it's very much to do with yourself. But with the Hanged Man and the Eight of Pentacles here, it does feel like you have... Well, hey, there's a couple of different ways of looking at this. The first could be that what's gone on here is you surrendering to, submitting to an energy that has necessarily required you to go within, go quite deep, and find that level of intimacy with yourself. The other way of looking at it is that having spent a bit of time, presumably withdrawn, because this kind of work is very difficult to do around people, and it feels like it's something that you've been doing. Having spent that time withdrawn, you now know where it is that you want to put your energy in your relationships, who the people are that you want to put your energy into. Those relationships that nourish you and feed you, those relationships that bring value to your life. And where that is, reciprocated, but this is very much a reading of everything stemming from you. It's very powerful. We've got a lot of powerful cards going on here, a lot of powerful themes. That the Eight of Pentacles here is about, what you choose to work on, what you choose to devote your time to. The Nine of Pentacles is about your energetic resource management, knowing that you need to come first. Maybe that's something that really hit for you, over the last few weeks, seeing how you spread yourself a little too thin, see how you're always there for everybody else and sometimes you're not there for yourself, But whichever way round it is for you, you're showing up as a bit of a powerhouse this week, Gemini. Can't believe how wrong I was about Mercury retrograde and you. Like, I really thought it was going to batter you. Actually, it looks like you're navigating it the best out of all of the signs. It seems like it's powering you up. Right, let's have a look at work and money and material environment. We've got the Six of Swords. So there is something being left behind here. It could be that you're leaving a job. It could be even that you're leaving behind an idea of something, you know. It could be that you're leaving behind a particular perspective that you had on things. This Hanged Man energy is really strong, and it feels like it's kind of spreading out across the entire reading. But we do have the King of Cups and the Eight of Cups underneath there. This feels like a very sensible and mature decision that you've made to leave something behind, whether it is a job, a situation, or even a perspective about something. You know, maybe you've been getting het up about something and you've gone, do you know what? Actually, it doesn't fucking matter at all. You know, it's that kind of energy. But there's definitely movement here. Okay, that's Six of Swords. Thank you. We have the Knight of Swords. There you are again, Gemini. Oh, let's, fuck's sake, behave. Tell me about Six of Swords. Thank you. I have the Nine of Cups again. What, Gemini? Wow. So we've got the Nine of Cups turning up twice here. You really know what you want. You really know what you want, and you're very content with the decision. This is the thing, like, although there's an awful lot of movement here, and I do feel like it's in as a reaction to a period of stasis. There's also a peaceful energy to this, like the energy feels really, really clean here, Gemini. And I don't know what you've been doing, but you seem to have sloughed off an awful lot of doubt. You seem to have sloughed off a lot of things, perhaps a lack of confidence, perhaps a sense of confusion that you've had. Oh, hang on. Now that was a theme in one of your readings. There was a notion of coming out of the fog. It feels like you've completely clarified your energy, and you know what you want now. You know how to go after what you want, and you know what you don't want as well. And there's this kind of peaceful, contented energy now of going, well, that's where I'm headed, and I'm going that way. And I'm not feeling that doubt. I'm not feeling that resistance anymore. It's really strong. It's very palpable. It's like you've picked your direction. And do you know what? All of the cards that indicate movement are all going off in the same direction. There's an understanding that you have to leave something behind in order to go towards what you want, but I don't feel any sense of regret or remorse about that. It's just very comfortable. Thank you very much. I'm off now. Ooh, Gemini. I love it. What should Gemini focus on this week, please? The Hierophant with the Fool at the bottom of the deck. Well, what do you want to commit to, Gemini? That's the question. This is what the Hierophant speaks of to me. You know, the Hierophant is about creating structure. It's about commitment to a path. But again, with this Hierophant here, this particular one in the Llewellyn, I really love, there's a harp here, look. Another symbol of peace and harmony. It does feel like you've really gone through something, and you are very firmly out the other side now. We're starting on a new path. We're leaping off into a new path, to be honest. Fucking hell. Tell me about the Hierophant, please. There we go. Ooh. So we have the Hierophant clarified by the Hermit and the Page of Wands. Now these are Taurus and Virgo energies respectively, which is interesting. They're both earth signs. It does feel foundational. What's gone on here like I said, it's not just a clarification of your energy, but it feels like formulating a plan moving forwards. You know, I can't ignore the spiritual aspect of the Hierophant either. And some of you might actually be moving into teaching. But with this Hierophant, no, with the Hermit here, started with an H, you've very much gone inside. You know, this is where when I say you've been withdrawn, this is, you know, how it feels. You've gone inside and you've looked for the answers. Like, the answers absolutely were not outside of you, they were within. And perhaps there's something of, I know a lot of Geminis work in the spiritual modalities, almost overwhelming number of you actually. I mean, it could be that you've got a new direction about where you want to go forwards. Perhaps you want to teach rather than, you know, treat, something like that. You know, teach a man to, well, give a man a fish and he'll feed himself for a day. You know, teach him how to fish and he'll feed himself for a lifetime. There's kind of like a spiritual version of that going on here, where you could treat someone with Reiki, or you could teach them how to do it for themselves. You know, it's kind of spreading that out. The Page of Wands here. It's like keep up the momentum, because what this peaceful contentment, this excitement that I'm feeling, the excitement isn't fizzy. It's not like you're pinging off in all sorts of directions and you don't know which way to go. It's considered. But not overdone. And it's like, you know, you're on the right path now. You know you're going in the right direction. And so just keep that front and center. Because it feels like you've found a way to tap into something quite creative here, Gemini. Oh, I love it. Love it. I could just kind of zoned out for a second there, sorry. What should Gemini avoid this week, please? 7 of Swords. Oh, that's interesting. With the Emperor card at the bottom of the deck. 7 of Swords. Oh, right. We've got the 6 of Swords and the 9 of Swords here. Clarifying the 7 of Swords. Now, the 7 of Swords, often indicates self-deception. Now, the fact that we've got the 6 of Swords repeated here, I think it's very much asking you not to second guess your decisions this week, particularly with regard to things that you feel like you need to leave behind in order to go off in the direction that you're going. Because maybe you feel like, you know, it's like maybe having a wobble and going, am I even doing the right thing? What is this? I'm kind of throwing a lot of things up in the air. I'm doing a lot of things on faith, on trust. What if I've read this wrong? What if I've read the energy wrong? What if I've read my own capabilities wrong? What if I've overestimated my abilities? Something like that, you know? This is a week to avoid as far as possible that kind of thinking, right? Because I can tell you for a start, like, you absolutely haven't. There's no doubt in my mind about that. But when you feel those feelings come up, you know, a really tidy way of dealing with this energy would be to try and work out where it came from. You know, you say, you know, I know what I know. I know I'm being pulled in this direction. I know I'm going this way, and I know that it feels right to me. So where is that little voice coming from that's telling me that this is not all right? Because this feels like self-sabotage quite strongly, Gemini, and that always has a point of origin, right? So as kind of additional homework, you could be looking at where these feelings of self-doubt come from. And some of you will know, you will know very well. And if you do know, then you are doubly armed to deal with this. But if you don't, it could be an interesting exercise, because you're so fucking powerful this week, Gemini. You can pretty much do anything that you want. You can certainly create what it is that you want. And so, you know, even be mindful of that. You know, you're in such a place of power this week that if you spend a lot of time doubting yourself. Whether you believe you can do it or whether you believe you can't, you're right in both circumstances. That's what this feels like here to me. Right, I'm going to pause the video here and go use the loo. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Let's move on to Cancer. Can I have a theme for the week for Cancer, please? Oh, we have the Fool. Beautiful energy. It's the energy of a new start, for sure. But it's also the opportunity of, the card of maybe taking a leap on something this week. You know, it's something crops up that would be a little outside of your usual. Yeah. Things that maybe you wouldn't have felt quite brave enough to do at a point before now, you know. I think the best way to navigate this, please. Ooh, wow. Okay. So we have, holy shit, Cancer. I've just got goosebumps. It's a glorious day. I'm wearing a fucking massive hoodie and I've just got full body goosebumps from what I'm seeing here. So we have the Nine of Cups at the bottom of the deck here. That is all about the individual. It's about you taking responsibility for your life and your happiness and all these kind of things. But we have it combined here with, underneath the Fool, the Lover's card, the Magician, and the Fool again, right? There's the Fool twice. The Lover's card is a card of a choice. And sometimes that can be big life-changing decisions that you make about you know, about your situation. Close that. But it's the card of conscious co-creation, right? Energetic alignment, right? Coming into harmony, into union with an energy that is presenting to you. It could be another person, but I don't necessarily feel like that's the case, because this feels like it's very much about you and you alone. So you then combine it with the Magician, which is a card of actual manifestation. And it's like everything just feels like it's popping off for you this week, Cancer. Right? And I think you're here for it all day long. I really do. Now, you know, these clarifying cards here specifically are about how you navigate this energy to the best effect. And the message could not be more clear. It's like, where there's an opportunity to jump, you need to take it. Like, to navigate this energy in the best way. There's a lot of new here. Find a better word for this. There's a lot of opportunities that are just going to feel like they're presenting themselves for you this week. And like I said, I think that maybe 6 months ago you might have gone, no, I'm not sure about this. But if you can really align yourself with it, because I do feel like you've brought this towards you anyway. I mean, fuck. First 4 cards all out. They're all major arcana, and then we've got you under here. You know, it feels like you've drawn all of this towards you, and now it's a case of, well, biting the bullet, really. Like, you know, you've set this up for yourself. Now it's time to take the leap. Go for it. So tell me about love and interpersonal relationships for Cancer. My God, we have the Magician again. What? And we also have the King of Cups at the bottom of the deck. It could be that if you are looking for a partner, that there's a possibility that they may be showing up this week, you know, because you have called them in. Could well be a Scorpio, could be a Gemini. In fact, we have Gemini here twice, we have Aries here twice, and we have Scorpio. So, you know, if those signs are relevant, they're not always the good. But the Magician says that you have everything that you need. Now, if you are not looking for a partner, it could well just simply be that you have everything that you need. You are now looking after yourself in a way that you might have tried to outsource to other people in the past. And with this knowledge that you can do all of that for yourself, you really don't need people to do that. It's an incredibly empowering and liberating thing. It means that you are, you know, when you do meet someone, if you want to meet someone, all that kind of thing, you know, you're entering into this in a really strong way. You know, any notion of codependence or any of those other things that you might have suffered with as Cancer before, absolutely off the table. Right? No longer relevant. What about the Magician, please? We've got the Four of Pentacles in reverse, and we've got the Queen of Wands. So we have you releasing definitely something here, and for you possibly it might be just all of those things that I've just laid out there, you know, the codependence, the need to outsource to other people. And we have the Queen of Wands. We have you here really confidently standing in your own power and being all like, hey bitches, here I am, you know, this is me, and I'm not going to hide any part of myself. I'm not going to shrink away from anything this week. It's a really powerful set of cards that you've got here. Very, very powerful. The Queen of Wands is another Aries card, interestingly enough, and one that does, you know, talk about being seen. It talks about having confidence, high self-esteem. Feeling kind of untouchable this week, Cancer. You know, really riding on a high. It's almost like you've accessed something. Right, we've got the Eight of Swords here at the bottom of the deck. Oh, beautiful. You know, followed by the Ace of Cups. It's like you can see the ways in which you have held yourself back, the ways that you have restricted yourself by the way that you have, you know, been thinking all of this time. And as that has gone, so suddenly there's nothing off the table in terms of what it is that you can achieve, what it is that you can manifest, what you can bring towards you. You know, it really feels like you've unlocked something. And this is the week where you start to see the results of having unlocked that in your own mind. Tell me about work, money, and material environment, please. Ooh. We have the Lovers again. And we have the Strength card. So, Gemini and Leo energy respectively. We do have the Ten of Wands at the bottom of the deck. So, I think this week, if there is anything in your material environment, whether it is your work, whether it is your finances, whether it is your, you know, your business, your home, whatever it is, ways in which you are burdened this week, you're choosing to break out of those. You know, I think, you know, with this, with the cards that we've already had out here, we've got you making some really bold, and dare I say it, intuitive leaps about the direction that you want to take for yourself. Because you realise that there is literally nothing that can hold you back here, right? You know, where you feel stuck, it is all just I spoke about this in one of the other readings that I did last week. I can't even remember whose readings they were, like which sign it was. But, you know, that statement, I can't do this, right? Whether, you know, I don't have time for this, all that sort of thing. What you're actually saying there is that there are other things that take priority. There are other things that you give priority to. And so, you know, I think the example that I gave was, you know, I would love to go traveling the world, but, you know, I have 5 children, so I can't, you know, I have to stay here and look after them. Now, that's a perfectly reasonable position to take, but it's actually inaccurate to say that I couldn't travel the world if I wanted to. It's just that I've put other things in the way that are more important. By the same token, you know, I'm trying to think of a less reasonable example, you know. I'm like, you know, I can't change my job, you know, I can't do this. You actually can. You totally can. There may be consequences of doing that, and maybe those consequences are ones that you don't want to shoulder, but you could do it if you wanted to. You know, it's this kind of energy. And what I'm feeling for you this week is that you're kind of looking at all of those things where you've been working from this presupposition of not being able to do something, and kind of being aware of your own mental processes that are going along with this, and being all like, actually, no, why can't I do that? Like, I actually can do that thing. And with the Strength and the Lovers card together, it seems like you're making some really bold decisions this week. We've got the Three of Pentacles. We have the Ace of Cups again. And we have the Devil card. There's something about facing your fears here, you know. Maybe it is that you're going to need to take a pay cut if you're going to change your job. But do you know what you will get back from it outweighs anything that you might lose. It's possibly a shift in your priorities. So as the bumblebees just flown into the window, just clattered really loudly. in terms of work-life balance, you know, okay, right, I won't be earning squillions of pounds, but I'll actually get to spend time with my friends. I'll actually be able to see more of my family, you know. I might actually get some time for me. And do you know what? I've just discovered recently that that's actually really quite an important thing. It does feel like you're going to be making some really bold changes this week because you feel empowered to do so. And I'm here for this all day long, Cancer. I think this is absolutely magnificent. Right, what should Cancer focus on this week, please? Oh, there you are. Three of Pentacles again. There are people around you at this point who can help you with this, Cancer. Now, this is important because what I don't want you to do is go, but I have to do it all for myself because I was codependent before. And, you know, it was something that I learned actually last year. I spent a lot of time thinking that I'd done very good work on my boundaries and, you know, I was properly independent and all that kind of thing now. And then there was an interaction I had where I realised, with slow dawning realisation, that actually it is very easy to feel like you've got good boundaries. It's very easy to feel like you have done all the work that you need to do when you are not dealing with other people. Like I spent, you know, a considerable amount of time on my own, and when my partner came along, I assumed I was just, you know, fixed and all that sort of thing. No codependence issues ever, until the first time where I actually had to, you know, enforce my boundaries. And then I was like, shit, okay, look at the mental gymnastics that I'm doing in order to avoid actually doing this here. Anyway, all of that was a long rambling way round to the point that you're always going to need to deal with people, and you can't, it's not a sufficient substitution to just do everything by yourself instead, right? That lures you into a false sense of security. It means that you haven't quite done the work. You thought you did the work, but you haven't quite done the work. That was my experience anyway. But it's a really useful opportunity to go, okay, well, look, there's some more work to be done there. That's awesome. I can work on that. That's good. You know, and start improving the nature of the relationships that you have with people. I mean, that's Three of Pentacles, please. We have the King of Swords. Really? I'm not going to take all of those. That's ridiculous. Put those back in. I'll shuffle them in, so if one of them wants to come out again, that's fine. Four of Cups, yeah. So we've got the King of Swords and the Four of Cups here, right? It's about approaching this week your relationships from this position that you have set up for yourself, where you want to be independent, you do not want to be codependent, you know, you want to be able to run your own shit, you don't want to have to outsource your emotions to anyone, right? It's about being kind of detached, that compassionate detachment that we've spoken about a lot, and observing your own interactions this week. That would be a really useful thing to do, because with this Four of Cups, there's still somewhere deep inside a bit of a fear of rejection, right? And where you feel that rising to the surface, that's the point where you look at it, you employ this King of Swords energy and you look at it for what it is, because I don't think we ever quite get free of our subconscious programming, but we can certainly do a lot to mitigate it. And the first part of that is being conscious and being present and recognizing those feelings in ourselves. So when it starts to, oh no shit, they might not like me, oh shit, they're gonna, you know, they're gonna think I'm being really selfish, and you know, those are the points where you stop and you go, actually, how realistic is that I'm feeling right there? You know, observation is processing. You've got some really good opportunities to fix the ways that you interact with people this week. Like, it's almost like there'll be a couple of maybe triggering sort of situations where if you are present enough, you can notice that subtle kind of shift in the way that you feel and be like, no, stop. There, that's what I need to work on. You know, just interestingly enough, we've got the Nine of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. That it's about your energetic resource management. Make sure that you are putting your energy into the right places. Like I said, that involves you catching yourself. catching yourself. What should Cancer avoid this week, please? We have the Four of Swords with the Eight of Swords. This is not a week for pulling back into yourself, Cancer. This is actually, like I said before, this is a week for being seen. You know, we've got the Eight of Swords here, which does speak about, you know, being stuck in your own head. It's the second time it's come up for you here. Kind of getting stuck in those loops. It's often a card here of kind of waiting to be saved as well. You know, don't pull back into yourself and wait for things to happen. This is a week where you can do literally anything that you set your mind to. You can produce any kind of results that you set your mind to. You are a limitless being having a human experience. And we have the Four of Swords. Thank you. We have the Five of Swords. Yeah. And we have the Eight of Cups. So if you withdraw into yourself this week, if you pull back from interactions with other people, it's almost guaranteed that you are going to fall back into old thought patterns about things, right? It's a week for really kind of pushing yourself out there a little bit. And if you do fall into old patterns, the chances are you are going to walk away from new opportunities that are presenting to you this week. It's almost like you'll hamstring yourself. You'll not feel that emboldening because you've overthought it, because you let it go too far, you know, inside your mind. And so just keep putting yourself out there, you know. It's like anything. You've got to practice it, you know, flex those muscles. But all in all, a really excellent week for you, Cancer. Whoa, love it. So, get these a shuffle. And let's move on to Leo. Can I have a theme for the week for Leo, please? We have the Chariot. Ooh, this is nice. And we have the Tower at the bottom of the deck. And I am fucking delighted to see this Tower here because, well, it's really felt quite strongly like something's had to change, Leo. And if your experience has been anything like mine as a Leo, and I feel like it probably has, there's this absolute frustration with the lack of movement that's gone on. This week it's changing. Now, the Tower can be a terrifying card, but actually I don't feel like that in this sense for you. It feels very much like this here now is the disruption that you have been trying to bring to the status quo. This is what you have been trying to change. This is it, really, you know, kicking it. It's interesting. I actually discovered, what was that, Friday? No, it was last week sometime anyway, that I have both Saturn and Pluto transiting my first house at the moment. No, my first house is Capricorn, which is just, that whole thing is just a shit show in my birth chart at the moment. But this Pluto energy, it's not Pluto energy, is it? It's Mars energy. It doesn't really matter. Anyway, both of those signs are in retrograde at the moment. And so it's felt very much like there were things that needed to be learned about you and the way that you deal with frustration, the way that you deal with lack of movement, Leo. And a couple of weeks ago, the weekly reading that I did was that I believe it was something along the lines of you getting a sign, you know. As it happens, I had a couple of signs for that week. A couple of signs that there was light at the end of the tunnel, that it wasn't just going to be this frustrating kind of like lack of movement. And the interesting thing is the signs were not anything to do with movement, but more to do with the way that I dealt with it instead, right? It was just like a light going on in my head. Whatever happens this week, there is movement here for you, Leo, whether it is outside of you or whether it is inside of you. I would hazard a guess that it's both at this point, right? The Chariot card is about forward movement. It's about travel in a direction, you know. But in the Llewellyn, The Chariot is pulled by two horses, and one of them is so deeply in the water, it looks like it's made of water. Now, water in the tarot is your emotion. This is about you really getting a handle on your emotions, right? So, like I said, could well be an internal thing here. But it's also about setting goals and achieving them. It's a card of success and victory. Yeah. And I think for a lot of you, this is absolutely extraordinary. We've got the Five of Pentacles in reverse, and we've got the King of Pentacles. For a lot of you, it's speaking about how you process the frustration. And it's absolute frustration. Look at this woman, like there. But it's come out in reverse. It's about understanding how you process the frustration of lack of movement. When all you want to do is put down roots, when all you want to do is establish something new, when you've got, you know, responsibilities, when you've got people who are kind of depending on you, and how you keep your shit together when it feels like everything's imploding around you, yeah? We've got the Queen of Wands at the bottom of the deck here, and that augurs really well. It's Aries energy. But again, it's about being seen, being visible. Oh, I wonder here if there's an element also of this slightly performative aspect of Leo. I'm not saying, you know, you're playing to an audience or anything. It's more about the way that we construct a front of capability and stoicism and leadership when we feel absolutely the reverse on the inside. You know, that front that we project of being the one that keeps everything together. You know, we've had yet another taste of how it feels when everything starts to blow up, when everything is not moving in the way that we want it to. And there are deeper lessons to be learned here about patience, about trust, about all of that sort of thing, you know. And I think that the penny has dropped for a lot of Leos this week. So tell me about love and relationships. We have the Moon with the Two of Cups at the bottom of the deck. So we could have some things coming to light that you're not aware of this week. But it could well be, in light of the cards that have already come out here, that what we've got here is a deeper understanding of not just your role in relationships, but how you show up in relationships, and how it is okay to expose your vulnerable side to those that you are intimate with. Now, the Leo predisposition is to withdraw and remove yourself when there are things that are going on that are difficult for you to deal with. And sometimes we do that with the people that we're most intimate with too. It's not always the right way, Leo, because sometimes it builds a wall completely unintentionally, because it's always coming from a place of not wanting to burden with other people with it. It's like, no, I will do it myself. I will fix this myself because I am, you know, X, Y, and Z. But actually allowing people to see that side of you, like, as uncomfortable as it is, it does deepen the connection. When you expose your vulnerabilities to people, if they are the right people, and I do feel on the whole, Leo, that they are the right people that you've got around you, it deepens that bond. Tell me about the Moon, please. Oof. We've got the Four of Wands and we've got the Justice card. It's learning to allow yourself to accept your vulnerability in the process of letting other people see it too. Now, you've got the Justice card here, which does talk about balance, it talks about alignment, it talks about justice as well, right? But it also talks about karma, it talks about consequences, and for you the consequences of exposing your vulnerabilities are actually really positive, right? You have learned something in the process. And not only that, people around you have learned something of you as well. And whilst, you know, we may worry that there would be some judgment here from people, like they were like, oh, she's not nearly as, you know, as strong as she makes herself out to be. She's not really, you know, this, that and the other, you know, all of those things that Leo really worries about, because we take being strong and being there and being protective of people very, very seriously. Yeah. And we want people to have faith in us. We want people to have trust in us. Sometimes we fall into the trap of thinking that sometimes when things are hard, if people could see that we were struggling, they might lose faith, they might lose trust in us, they might judge us in some way or another. And actually, I just don't think that's the case. Not at all. So, this new version of yourself that you are trying to create, Leo, is one where you don't accidentally and unintentionally build walls and push people away. That feels very strong here. Tell me about work, money and material, environment. What's going on here? We have the Hierophant. This is good. This is very good. Because the Hierophant is Taurian energy. Now, we've already got a Taurus card here. We've already got this King of Pentacles, which was appearing specifically in relation to the ways in which you've been trying to change your life and not being able to do it, right? And why you were so frustrated about that. Taurian energy is preoccupied with security and stability and the home and making a nice environment for yourself. For it to show up again, but really strongly this time, it shows that there is something, you know, that which you are wanting to commit yourself to is coming over the horizon. So in terms of money, it bodes really well because, you know, Tauruses are earth signs and, you know, very good with money, very good with material things. But what you've been trying to bring towards yourself, there's the Ten of Cups there. It looks like it's here because we've got the Magician. We've got you bringing this towards you. Tell me about this. We've got the Two of Wands. You bringing this towards you, right? I always say this about the Two of Wands. There are lots of cards in the tarot that speak about choices. They talk about decision making. Most of them are major arcana. Most of them are these situations being thrust upon you. What I like about the Two of Wands is this is about you trotting to this crossroads and going, I have decisions to make. I am going to, you know, work out the consequences of going this road over this road. And then I will make then I'll make that decision, and then I'll go there. You know, this is about you doing that here, and it's prefaced by the Magician. You have all the tools you need to get exactly what it is that you want. And if you had been worried at any point that your situation was not sufficient to be able to bring what it is, whether you were looking to move house or, you know, whatever it is, it actually feels like that you're shown this week that that's not the case. That you've got everything that you need, and more than that, you can actually generate these opportunities for you. You can manifest this stuff. Because I think it's the manifestation side of things that has been really bothering Leo. Like, it's just like, yeah, I've got the Star card. It doesn't matter how hard you tried to bring this thing towards you that you were trying to do, it just wasn't fucking appearing, and then you were just like, and cycling down to this spiral of self-doubt. You've learned a really useful lesson here, Leo. Really useful lesson. So what should Leo focus on this week, please? Whoa. Five of Pentacles. Now that's interesting. With the Two of Cups at the bottom of the deck. Now the Five of Pentacles has already come out for you, but it came out in the reverse, which we like, because this is an inherently unstable energy. When you reverse it, you stabilize that, right? So where this is poverty, where this is feeling like you don't have enough, where this is, or it's poverty consciousness, actually, in all senses. Reversing it is definitely coming out of that energy. Now we have this here in the upright for you. So what it is good for you to focus on this week is where your poverty consciousness has been kicking your ass, Leo, because it seemed from the outset of this particular phase, and this is This is going into months now, but it's really kicked up a notch in the last 2. When the thing that you needed didn't just present itself in the way that you are accustomed to doing it, it feels like it's thrown you into this incredible spiral of not knowing if you ever really manifested anything for yourself, or whether it was just coincidence. Coincidence doesn't exist. I'm just going to drop it in there. Right? But you've been shown where the aspects of your poverty consciousness exist. This is an opportunity for you to take this, work with it, and turn it upside down, right? That's the best way to navigate this energy for you this week. Tell me about the 5 of Pentacles. 3 of Cups. And the Queen of Cups. Yeah, so maybe exploring this with others, people that you feel that you can trust with this, people who have your intimacy, and certainly at a deeper level as is going on here, because there's been an element of you holding yourself back because of the way that you've been thinking. Now, it's not to say that you didn't get what you wanted because of the way that you were thinking, but almost like what you've been thinking has been deliberately kept aside from you until you worked out that you still have aspects of poverty consciousness dictating how you react to the situation. Like, we're fire signs, we're like things yesterday, not terribly patient, but we've been learning an agonizingly slow lesson in patience while we work through what is being presented to us. And like I said, it seems like this 5 of Pentacles energy is really something strong for you. So you've got a dual-fold lesson coming in here. Both not only with the poverty consciousness, but also opening up and allowing yourself to be vulnerable, allowing other people to see it, and allowing, actually paying attention to other people. Like, there has felt like there's been an identity shift going on for Leo. And the most frustrating thing is knowing that it has to happen and haven't got not having a fucking clue how to assist it. And sometimes the answer is literally just staring you in the face. If you've been sat there really, really pissed off about the fact that things aren't happening, then stop and consider that for a while. Why? Is there an urgency about your situation, or did you just Leo it and be like, all right, I need to do this right now? What should Leo avoid this week, please? 9 of Wands. Ooh, with the Tower. I think as the Tower energy hits for you this week, there could be it feels a little bit like everything happens at once, Leo. That's how it feels. And I think that you can spin on a sixpence between this incredible frustration that nothing's happening to an incredible terror that suddenly everything is happening. I'm feeling quite battered by it all in the process. Tell me about the 9 of Wands. Almost to the point that you might consider resisting the speed with which this is trying to come in. Of all the fire signs, I think Leo is the least adaptable in reality, because you are fixed fire, right? I am a fixed fire as well. There are certain aspects of our life in which we can be very spontaneous and very sparky and all that kind of thing, but ultimately, as a fixed sign, there's a certain area of the universe that is your comfort zone that you like to operate from. And I think that these last couple of months have been you sat in a very fucking uncomfortable place, but with that fixed sign, absolute stubborn, dogged resistance to accepting that. We've got the World card, we've got the 5 of Swords here, and we've got the Page of Swords. The end of the cycle is not you getting what you want. The end of the cycle was understanding that the poverty consciousness and the intimacy and the vulnerability issues were what needed dealing with. And if you fall into this trap of resisting how fast everything starts to move, once it starts moving, and this week sees a lot of movement, you're trying to create a new story from an old script, right? That's the issue here. You've been really desperate for the new, but you've been carrying across things that belonged in an old story, that it's not new material. The new material is you, Leo. It's all about this constant process of evolution that you've been going through, and it is time to drop the poverty consciousness, drop the fear, because you are courageous. You've shown that over and over again, and the proper definition of courage is feeling the fear and doing it anyway, and that is what Leo is good at. But there's something very, very deep-seated here that has been, in a very subtle way, almost so subtle as to be completely unseen. It's been very subtly showing you what you don't want to take into the next cycle. And so that is doubt. That is a lack of confidence in your own decision making. That is a fear of vulnerability, a fear of being seen on a really profoundly intimate level. A fear of not living up to your own expectations of what you think other people need to see of you. Your strength and your majesty and all of these kind of things. But do you know what? I feel like people see and value those things more strongly when they see what you struggle with internally and still manage to be able to get to that point, to be majestic as fuck and all that sort of stuff, It's about changing the way that you think. And that, by necessity, is a slow process. Frustratingly slow. Absolutely mind-numbingly slow. But sometimes the most obvious things take the longest time to come to the surface, and particularly when they are so very deeply ingrained as they seem to have been here. This fear of not being enough, of not being worthy. Very strong. But Leo, you've got this. Okay, you've always got this. So let's move on to Virgo. Could I have a theme for the week for Virgo, please? We have the Three of Swords. Panic ye not. Let's have a look and see what this is about. Can you tell me why the Three of Swords is here for Virgo? For Virgo, please. We have the Two of Pentacles. We have the Page of Pentacles. Fucking hell, there's 4 cards here. I didn't even notice. So, we've got the Three of Swords clarified by the Two of Pentacles, the Page of Pentacles, the Two of Swords, and the King of Cups. This is a week where your old wounds seem to be a theme, and it could be that you are communicating these to the people, to new people for the first time. But it seems like there's something quite nuanced going on here. Now, for the June reading, I did get a sense of their, well, almost a bit like the Leo reading there. A sense of there being a low-level self-sabotage with regard to a new start. Like, you've had aces pouring from the heavens, the Fool pouring from the heavens. The new start that you have wanted for yourself has presented, and like I said, there's some low-level resistance to it that you've been experiencing, and it feels like this is the week where that low-level resistance really starts to show itself to you. We have the Two of Pentacles, which does talk about the way in which you juggle your energetic currency. That's what Pentacles are to me. How you feel on the inside about things, how stable you feel on the inside. We've got this Page of Pentacles, which is absolutely about a new start, but this page is examining. it's like what is coming to the surface for you, or at least, you know, an internal surface that you are aware of. This is what needs adjusting. This is what needs balancing, because I do think there are things that you haven't quite seen about yourself that are coming up for you to deal with. And we have this King of Cups here who's absolutely ready to do this. It's the next phase of the healing journey that you're on, is not just getting over the shock of what has happened, but then also addressing what comes up later, you know, as the shock of what's happened subsides, as that distance, you know, widens between you and the event. How you process moving into the new one. And I did bring up in that reading these feelings of guilt and possibly a little bit of shame about the fact that you are moving on. It's difficult energy, Virgo, but it's really worth engaging with, because you have one life. At the end of the day, that's what it is. You have one life. And although it feels like it will be challenging at points, I don't feel you being kicked back into, you know, anywhere near the same state that you have been in at times, because this isn't actually about the event itself. This is about your reaction to the new start. It's about your acceptance of new things coming in. It's about your acceptance of distance, of time and space, away from that which you felt so loyal to before. You know, there it is again, that feeling of disloyalty that sometimes comes up when we continue to live after such an event, you know. It's challenging, but it's absolutely not beyond you at all. And I do think that you've got some good people around you that you can discuss this with, you know, not in a kind of laying out your life story sort of way, but, you know, bringing up these feelings that are coming in, and let them be there for you, because I do think that they want to be very strongly. And whether it's new people that you're explaining the situation to for the first time, or whether it is, you know, long-standing friends who've been with you through all of this, I actually feel you being received really gently, Virgo. And it's important that you extend that same gentle spirit to yourself, you know, compassionate and all that. Let's look at love and interpersonal relationships generally. Gosh, that absolutely trolled out. We have the Fool, yeah, and this is the thing, because we've got the Five of Wands at the bottom of the deck here, right? It isn't necessarily about new people coming on, but it is very much related to a new cycle that does not involve the person that you lost. Virgos, certainly the pocket of Virgos that I read for, either suffered bereavements or divorces or you know, whatever. There was definitely a sense of having lost someone last year, someone really, really important. And so for you this week, this notion of starting a new cycle without those people, moving away from those people, is something that has you feeling really rather conflicted. It's completely understandable, and it is part of the process. There's nothing that you're doing wrong here in feeling like that. But the only thing that you can do wrong at this point is to refuse and resist the new start out of a misplaced sense of guilt. And I mean, we've got the Four of Pentacles and the Ace of Pentacles there, you know, holding on too tightly to the old Pentacles when there are new Pentacles coming in. Energetic currency, right? That's how I see the Pentacles here. So holding on to an old set of currency that isn't here anymore, that isn't, you know, tradable. It's blocking you. being able to accept the new. And I think that you know this. It feels rather than a depressed state, rather than something that leaves you feeling, you know, awful. It does feel more like a slightly sad intellectual perspective. You know, just noticed we've got the moon there at the bottom of the deck. I just heard, what does it say about me if I can start again? No, there's you kind of looking at yourself there. It's an interesting question, Virgo, because I think that if you put this situation on someone else, hypothetically speaking, and they came to you and they told you about the new start that they were trying to make for themselves, I think that you would be filled with nothing but love and encouragement with them for that, even though they would be, you know, coming and expressing exactly the same things. I feel guilty. You'd be like, no, don't be ridiculous. That's not true. You know, there's no disloyalty here. You can't pine away. You really do have to live. Putting a bit of that into your own mind this week will be really, really useful. You know, step outside of the situation a little bit. See how you would treat other people in the same situation. And be careful not to resist it to the point where you start blocking it for yourself, right? Because that's self-sabotage 101 right there. Tell me about money and material environments and work and all those sorts of things. What have we got going on? We have the Knight of Swords. So we have some movement here. We've also got the Ten of Swords at the bottom of the deck. There's a lot of movement implied with the Knight of Swords, and I think some of you have moved, some of you are about to move, some of you are literally in the process of moving right now, starting a new life. We've got this Ten of Swords at the bottom of the deck. There's some kind of mixed feelings about what you've left behind. Not just the person, but then everything around you too. You know, it could be some of you have had to leave a job to start a new one, you know, in a new place that you're in. Look at that. Got the Ace of Wands and the Fool underneath there. And some of you might be having trouble fully processing what you've had to leave behind to start again. But it doesn't feel like it's going to last very long for you, because we've got the Star card underneath here and we've got the King of Swords. I think you can recognize these feelings for what they are, Virgo. I feel that quite strongly. Right, we've got the Ten of Swords and then the Star, which is the card of Aquarius, and then we've got the King of Swords, which is the card of Aquarius. Both of those talk about, you know, a level of detachment, dealing with facts and reason and logic and stuff like that, rather than sinking into the emotions of the thing. And like, apart from the King of Cups, which, you know, is a card that augurs really, really well for emotional responses to things, there isn't another Cups card on the table here, which suggests to me that you have really worked through this to the point that this is a minor hiccup. You know, it's not going to be that in 6 months' time you're going to still be feeling like this, or a year's time, or 2 years' time, or 5 years' time. It will dissipate, but because it's relevant in the here and now, it feels like it's kind of taking everything up. Tell me about the Knight of Swords, please. Thank you. We've got the Ten of Wands as well here. Got lots of things completing for you. And the Death card. Yeah, I mean, the actions that you are taking are, you know, leading inexorably away from the old. Right? We've got the Ten of Wands. There's completion. We've got Death. There's completion. We've got the Ten of Swords. Completion. I'm not actually worried about this for you at all, Virgo, because you have taken the steps that have put you here. This is kind of like tidying up your emotional responses to it. Tell me what Virgo should be focusing on this week, please. We have the Eight of Swords and the Justice card here. So We've got the Two of Cups and Temperance coming out underneath here. It's like focusing on the ways in which oh, a sticky mark around my watches. The Eight of Swords is a card of being trapped, of being restricted. It is by necessity a card of stasis and status quo, but it's also a card of feeling like you can't get out of it. Now, the Eight of Swords is a good card. It's one of the best cards for explaining where you have been for the last year and a half. But it's also an incredible basis for looking at how far you have come now. Now we have the Two of Cups and we have the Temperance card here. The Two of Cups is intimacy to me. Yes, it's relationships. No, it's not always romantic relationships. It can be friends, it can be family, it can even be business colleagues, business partners, something like that. But there's always a degree of intimacy that is implied by this card. And we have the Temperance card, which is a card of balance. It is also a card of surviving really adverse circumstances, right? Bringing healing to things. It's like the message is kind of dual-fold here, because it's not just about understanding where you've come from and how much progress you've made, but it's also acknowledging the resistance to new intimacies, new friends, even new partners. I mean, let's face it, it may be far too early for you to be even countenancing that. But it feels like there are good people around you. And there are people who want to be actively engaged in the act of healing for you, if you let them in. And it is a choice for you, Virgo, like you have to choose to allow them in. Because for a lot of you, I don't think that you realise quite, I think you're starting to get a sense of it now you're coming out the other side, but I don't think that you quite realised how far away emotionally you have been from the people around you that remained. Oh yeah, you might have lost some friends along the way as well. I know when I lost my husband, I had people who just suddenly disappeared because they didn't know what to say to me. And it was more awkward to think of being in my company than just then swerving me for the next 2 or 3 years, Such is the way. But I think that you withdrew to such a degree that you unintentionally threw up a lot of walls. And I think that's part of what's getting sorted out for you this week. And as a first act in kind of sorting that out, kind of going to those people that you do trust and breaking down the walls by, talking to them about what is going on inside of you. Really, really useful exercise. What should avoid? Whoa, there's shitloads of things here. I'm not taking all of those, that's far too many cards. I'll try that again. What should Virgo avoid, please? Thank you. Got the Six of Pentacles in reverse. Avoid letting yourself get too unbalanced by what's going on inside you. Like, it's really important to know that it is a very, very distinct and usual. Oh fuck, what's the word that I'm looking for? But everybody has, you know, we have those stages of grief, right? Recognized stages of grief where there's denial and anger and all those kind of things. But I think there's stages of healing as well after grief, and one of those would absolutely be this sense of guilt, this sense of shame, this sense of wondering, you know, about the judgment of others, or even judging yourself about things. It's a very normal part of the process. Don't let it allow you, don't allow it to throw you off. There you are. Yeah. We've got the Devil and we've got the Knight of Pentacles here, and the interesting thing is that the Knight of Pentacles is actually traveling backwards towards the Devil. Like, if you allow this to destabilize you rather than seeing it for an absolute part of the process, just like everything else, you find yourself traveling back to old fears, old restrictions, like tethering yourself to it. You know in your heart how important this person was to you. Ace of Cups at the bottom of the deck there. You don't need to undertake a 15-year period of mourning to be worthy of what you felt for that person, you know? It doesn't make you shallow, it doesn't make you fickle, it doesn't make you any of these things, you know? It's a normal part of the healing process. Observe it for what it is and let it happen, I think, is my best advice to you. So let's move on to Libra. Sun, Moon or Ascendant. Could I have a theme for the week for Libra, please? I'm not taking that one because it flew out to the right. Oh, I'm not taking any apparently because they're flying everywhere. Let's start that again. Right. Right way around. Could I have a theme for the week for Libra, please? We have the Page of Wands. This is nice. Page of Wands is all about excitement for the future. It isn't yet movement. It seems like it's a precursor to movement for me. The Knight of Wands is where things actually start moving. But this is about somebody who, well, Page of Wands is an energy of someone who is feeling a rising sense of excitement about things that they are going to be able to do very, very soon, you know, whether it's plans that you put in place or, you know, maybe restrictions lifting, something, you know. But it also speaks of the new, right? Because all pages do speak of the new. So it's something that you are looking forward to, for sure. What about this? What have we got here? My throat's really starting to dry up. There we go. Okay. Yeah, for you, it does seem like a return to something. Actually, Libra. Now, I'm not sure whether this is a job or a set of people or a specific person, a situation, you know, maybe a club that you're a part of is reopening. Maybe your business is able to reopen again, you know, something like that. Because we have this this King of Pentacles here, very responsible, very much concerned with material matters. You could see it being work, you know, you could see it being something that you're in charge of, possibly. Definitely see it being potentially your business. And we have this Judgment card. Well, we have, you know, an element of ascension implied here by this card, but the Judgment card is often that point of return to something. You know, it is often a resurrection of something. And this feels like it's something that you're getting really excited about, is that it isn't just an abstract idea at this point. It is actually going to happen. We've got the Three of Swords at the bottom of the deck, so we have had you absolutely heartbroken about the loss of this, whether, you know, temporary, for sure, but it's all starting to pick up now, Libra. She's really, really good. Could well just be family that you haven't seen in a while, you know. Let's have a look at love and interpersonal relationships. Ooh, we have the Seven of Swords, right? So there's something feeling a little bit risky about this. Let's have a look. Why is the Seven of Swords here, please? Seven of Swords again, with the Star. Could it be that you almost don't dare to hope that this is going to happen, Libra? That is absolutely tragic if that's the case. Like, we've got the Four of Wands here, so we do have notions of home and family and you know, foundational level stuff being indicated here. But we have this Seven of Swords twice, and that can often talk about deception or self-deception as well as risk-taking. And the Star card is the card of hope. It's a card of healing. It's a card of the future. It could be. It's an interesting set of cards to have for your relationship zone. Because it does feel like you're really worried about something. And either worried about falling into a false sense of security that what you want is going to come to pass, the people that you want to see, the connections that you are missing, you'll be able to see them. Or whether it's somehow a risk for you to be able to see them. You know, perhaps if some of you need to travel any great distance, perhaps it's concern, worry that that's not actually going to take off because, you know, well, there are restrictions everywhere still, despite everybody's protestations about it. You know, if you're having to travel, perhaps travel abroad to see people, concerned that that won't happen either. Let's pull one more card for that, because that does seem a bit open-ended, doesn't it? Tell me about this. Yeah, we've got the Ace of Pentacles and we've got the Two of Cups. Like, you're wanting to go and see somebody. Perhaps a number of people. It does feel like you're concerned that it's not going to happen. Wondering if you're deceiving yourself on it. Intriguing. Right, let's have a look at work, money and material environment. What's going on there, please? Thank you. We have the King of Cups. So everything seems quite stable there. Relatively comfortable. And not in any way as concerning to you as your relationship situation. Yeah. We've got the Five of Pentacles in reverse, and we've got the Justice card too. That's an interesting combination. We also have the Eight of Cups. So if there has been something that has been bothering you, whether it is in the workspace or about your finances, it looks like it's coming to completion this week, right? We do have the Justice card, so we have justice being dealt out here, right? In whatever sense that applies. And we have this balance being restored. And we have all of these frustrations that are indicated by the Five of Pentacles here being reversed. So coming out of a situation where you felt completely stuck and you felt completely helpless and thwarted, and then being able to leave this behind. Now, is this your finances? Have you been having trouble with money? That looks like it's sorting itself out this week. If it's people at work, that seems like it's sorting itself out as well. This is definite, just move away from it. It's not concerning you at all. It could be that your concern about this is actually bothering you more than this. And you're actually just prepared to let that stand. You know, the Justice card is the card of Libra too. So we have you showing up really strongly here and, you know, transmuting your energy from this Five of Pentacles, albeit in the reverse now, through to the Eight of Cups. Which is really good. That's really, really positive, Libra. I like that. So let's have a look and see what Libra should be focusing on this week, please. Libra be focusing on this week. Thank you. We have the Six of Swords. Six of Swords is all about movement. It's all about moving away from something. You know, it's leaving something behind, but necessarily it does involve you moving towards something, even if you aren't quite sure what you are moving towards at this point, because it does seem like there's an awful lot of stuff that is in flux with you at the moment. You seem quite uncertain about a lot of things. Happy that stuff is moving, happy that there's an opportunity to go back to something that is important to you, whether it's work, your business, family, you know, whatever it is. But this here, yeah, that's Six of Swords. We've got the King of Swords, not Six of Swords, and the Five of Wands. Yeah, Ace of Swords at the bottom of the deck. Your second ace, in fact. Let's try and keep your thinking clean and elevated this week, Libra. I think there's a temptation to fall into overthinking the shit out of a particular situation because there's just so much flux here. There's so much uncertainty about your plans moving forwards. But this is an exercise in patience. Might not be too bad a thing this week. Because I think if you think too hard about this, if you try and be solution oriented about it, try and find your way, you know, to a solution for this, you're actually going to tie yourself up in knots. Because the fact is, you just don't have all the information that you need at the moment. Better that you put your energy into just looking for your peace, you know, exercising patience, looking for a bit of peace, and not thinking too far into the future. Because this feels like this is where you're tripping yourself up. Because then you get excited, but you're also getting frustrated that it's not happening fast enough. It's like kind of dial down the thinking just a little bit. Find something to occupy your mind. Something comfortable to occupy your mind instead this week. Because the time will pass. And it does feel like it does feel a lot like you're kind of wishing time away a little bit, Libra, here. And I understand why. I do understand why. But yeah. You will end up tying yourself up in knots if you do that. Better look for the peaceful things this week, I think. What should Libra avoid this week, please? What's that? Queen of Swords in reverse. Ooh, with the Eight of Swords at the bottom of the deck. It's exactly as I just said there, right? The King of Swords is all about making good decisions about things. The Queen of Swords, I feel, is kind of like the step before that, where you have lots of information and she sifts through it, right? She finds the useful things. Very bright woman. Your card as well, Libra card. But when it's coming this way out, right, she loses her discernment because she's getting overwhelmed with the amount of information that she's trying to process. Right? She's trying to look for answers in the information that she's got, and she doesn't have all of the information yet, right? So you're never going to come to the right conclusion about things if you go about it that way. Better that you wait. Better that you be patient and wait for these things to come in. Tell me about the Queen of Swords, please. We've got the Hermit, yeah. And we've got the Queen of Pentacles. It is better for you to not look for things outside of you, not look for solutions outside of you this week. Rather sit with the reason why you're feeling so frustrated, why you're feeling so thwarted, and why you are feeling so anxious. And deal with those. Bit of nurturing, bit of self-care this week. It's a really good move for you, Libra. You're not going to be able to fix what it is that you're frustrated about because you don't have all of the information yet. Okay, right, I'm going to leave it there and go and use the loo. I shall be right back. Okay, let's move on to Scorpio, Sun, Moon or Ascendant. Oh, it's a good shuffle. So, can I have a theme for the week for Scorpio, please? Thank you. We have the King of Wands. So this is a week for you taking action on something, right? The energy is supporting you taking physical action on whatever it is that you want to bring about for yourself this week. It's it's Leo energy, and it's very much about doing rather than thinking or feeling it. It's about doing, it's about living. The whole wand suit is about living. How do we navigate this energy? Whoa. We've got the Ten of Pentacles, we've got the Tower, and we've got the Hierophant. That's not the order they came out, actually. They came out as the Tower, the Hierophant, and the Ten of Pentacles. The Ten of Pentacles and the Hierophant both speak to me about commitment. And I seem to remember asking you recently, and I don't even remember when it was, what is it that you want to commit to, Scorpio? What is it in your life that you want to continue to be there, and what new things do you want to bring in? Now, the Tower energy it's a Scorpio card, right there. But rather than this energy of kind of throwing a grenade into a room and then standing back to see what happens with it, it feels like you embracing it strongly this week. So it's disruptive and it is a course correction, but it seems to be one that you are bringing out. You are bringing it to bear this week in order to get yourself further down the road to the place that you want to be, where your life is full of things that you want to commit to. The Hierophant is all about structure, but this is quite, I love it in the Triple Goddess actually, because it's natural. You know, it's not man-made pomp and circumstance like you see with those Catholic overtones in the standard depiction of the Hierophant. It's about rooting yourself and letting things grow, committing to the act of letting these things grow, committing to the act of planting yourself. And then we see that even, you know, even further validated by the Ten of Pentacles. 10 Pentacles don't come along by themselves very often, right? It's sometimes called the inheritance card, and so sometimes they can. It's too much to hope to be able to keep the window open. But more often than not, it's about energy that you invest and others invest in something. You know, it could be business, could absolutely see that. But it feels like something of a broader spectrum position for you. It feels like I'm moving away from the avoidance of to the embracing of, you know, moving away from the avoidance of pain towards the embracing of a new type of being. And so contained within that, we're necessarily talking about the people that you surround yourself with, for sure. But a bit more than that too. It seems to be so much about your perspective that's changing, Scorpio. And I love that for you. I really do, because this Hierophant card is so peaceful. So peaceful. Tell me about love and relationships, Scorpio, please. Oh, we have the Queen of Cups. This is huge. It's absolutely huge for you, because the Queen is water of water, right? She's doubly receptive queens are water, so they are receptive. And cups are water and also receptive. This is about allowing people in, Scorpio. Queen of Cups. Ooh. Yeah, we've got something changing really quite spectacularly for you. We have the Seven of Swords there with the Judgment card. Now, remember that we're in Mercury retrograde, and so I would be remiss of me if I didn't allude to at least the possibility of the return of somebody from the past. Right? The Judgment card often talks about resurrection of, you know, old relationships, old situations. But I get more of a sense of ascending with this particular card than I do of resurrection here. I don't think that we necessarily have anybody coming back from the past. What we have is a change in your judgment on the past. And we have, it seems, you kind of just cranking open a little bit and letting people in, you know. We go from the dark here, the Seven of Swords, which can sometimes talk about self-deception, but is, you know, it also talks about risk-taking, and certainly the possibility of exposure to a Scorpio would be a very threatening thing indeed. But then we have this character here, you know, ascending through these open doors. The light is shining through, you know. It feels like this is you opening up. But absolutely, when it's, you know, we've got it here with the Queen of Cups, it feels like you opening up to allow someone or someone's in to see a part of you that they haven't seen before. Right? Scorpio is a very dark sign, right? And that's something that can't be helped. And you're dealing with notions of you know, sex, death, and other people's money, taxes, that sort of thing, you know. But also grief and loss and all of these other things that Scorpio are associated with, deep emotional pain. Sometimes it would be easy to think that that's all you can categorize Scorpio as doing. Well, not all, I mean, it's huge, but you know, it is necessarily those things that tend to live in the dark, those aspects that live in the dark, that are dark by nature. But there's another side to Scorpio, and it's blindingly bright. Blindingly bright. And I feel like you're about to show people that side of you. Now, it could be that you've had in your life the odd person who has been able to see beyond your walls and been able to perceive that about you. But those kind of people are vanishingly rare. And particularly when up against such you know, a guarded sign as Scorpio. But there's a higher energy that is around you at the moment, and is that the right way to put it? I'm not sure that it is. Higher energy for sure. But I think that you're opening the door up to it, to embrace it yourself, Scorpio, as much as allowing somebody a glimpse of it too. Because we can't get away from this receptive energy that's presenting so strongly here. But Scorpio always does everything on a calculated risk, right? That's how you work. And this doesn't feel any different. Not with the Seven of Swords here. But it feels like it's time to show, maybe not the world at large, but a couple of really important people, what this higher aspect of Scorpio is all about. Now, how that has its expression in your life this week could be a number of different ways. It could be it could be you really being there for somebody when they need you, but honestly, that is kind of what Scorpio does anyway. Like, your loyalty is absolutely legendary, without a shadow of a doubt. And so where there are those people that are really close to you, that you feel protective of and that you look after, like, they will already be privy to that sense of loyalty, and that this feels like it's something slightly different. But I'm having trouble nailing down exactly what it is, because it will be slightly different for all of you. It could be the act of letting somebody in. It's less about how they see you and more suddenly about how you see yourself. And Scorpio struggle a lot with wheeling between self-loathing and absolute, inability to give a fuck about what anybody else thinks. And kind of everything in between too. But this feels like this week, not only are you seen for the higher being that you are, but you get a sense of that. You get a glimpse of that. And it feels almost baffling. Like how you could be so self-aware and how you could be so in tune with what's going on with you and so incredibly in tune with what's going on with other people and not have seen this bright shining light around you. Ooh, that's big. I've just noticed that you're at the bottom of the deck here as well as the King of Cups. Yeah, Scorpio, this feels kind of magical, to be honest. And do you know what else I feel just looking at it? I feel this sense of hope starting to rise. And it's difficult to explain. But almost like a hope that it is possible for you to be different, to feel different. It's like getting you can smell it this week, right? But the bafflement comes from having never seen it about yourself before. I love it. Right. Tell me about work and material environment, please. Thank you. We have the Wheel of Fortune. So the potential for something a little unexpected to happen this week with your material environment. Generally, when the Wheel of Fortune appears, it is given to be a good improvement. We have the Strength card down here at the bottom of the deck as well, which is quite interesting. Ooh. Followed by the Eight of Pentacles. So if you have been working on something, if you've been putting a lot of energy into something, whether it is where you work or your business or even sorting out your finances and stuff like that, it's almost like there's something unexpected that just happens as a really, sudden result of your actions. Tell me about the Wheel of Fortune. Fortune. Well, that was the Magician. Ten of Cups and a Fool. There is something opening right up for you here. And you've brought it towards yourself. There's no shadow of a doubt in my mind about that. Like, you've called it in. It could be the possibility of a new job. And if it is, it's something that fits much better with your life. Right? In terms of the time that you have to spend with people that you care about or do the things that you like to do. Work balance is very much better. But maybe like a surprise job offer out of the blue. Yeah. It feels like it came from nowhere, but actually it's one of those things where your reputation has preceded you, Definitely expect the unexpected this week. But whatever it is, kind of dive into it head first. Because with the Magician, you are absolutely capable of doing what it is that you're doing. It's going to be very good for you and the people around you. And with this Fool card in, right, you're being asked to trust. And I know that's something that Scorpios don't do easily, but for all it feels unexpected and it feels like it's sideswiping you a little bit, it's a distinct improvement from where you've been. Now, you might want to take, a little bit of time to think about it. That's fine. You can do that. But this Nine of Swords at the bottom of the deck here, something that you've really been concerned about recently in your material environment, whether it's money or your home or your job or something like that, it seems to come to a very sudden resolution this week. And everything spins around on it. It feels really, really positive, whatever it is. And combined with what's going on in the rest of your life as well, like, it just seems like a good week altogether for you, Scorpio. Let's have a look and see what you should be focusing on this week. We have the Seven of Swords, so taking a risk, right? Taking leaps into the unknown is the order of the day for you. We've got the Seven of Swords already down on the table for you, but we've also got the Moon and the Hanged Man here. Oh, fuck me, and the High Priestess. Look at that. So we've got Cancer, Pisces here, and your sister water signs here supporting this energy. We've got you being highly intuitive, changing your position on something. And we've also got the Moon, which covers the things that are hidden. You know, I don't think you're going to know where it is quite that you're jumping to, but when the opportunity presents, you're going to know. And just follow your gut with it, because I don't think it's going to see you too wrong at all. All three of those cards, the Moon, the Hanged Man and the High Priestess, they talk about wisdom, but they talk about a great degree of intuition as well. So don't think too hard about things this week. You know, if you're pulled to go and do something or speak to someone, go do it. You know, but if an opportunity just appears, don't let it go, because it's taking you in a very nice direction. Like this tower has felt very, I felt quite comfortable with this tower when it turned up straight away. So we've got that course correction coming in here. And if you are brave enough, which you absolutely are, we see that here 100%, and even with the, the strength card at the bottom of the deck there, if you are brave enough to take the leap, it's going to pay enormous dividends for you. For sure. Tell me about the Seven of Swords, please. Yeah, Two of Pentacles and the Knight of Wands. Just be prepared to leap on any possibility when it comes towards you, because it's not just dropped for shits and giggles. You've called it in. And make sure that, you are uncomfortable with a little bit of chaos. Like, I think of all the signs in the zodiac, you're probably the ones that are most comfortable with chaos. Like, things do feel like they will be a little bit chaotic this week, but that's when your most creative stuff comes out. Your most creative side. This is very exciting, actually. It would be this week where you find an opportunity to stabilize those things that feel like they've been getting away from you a little bit. And it's less to do with what's coming towards you and more about the way that you're approaching it. The jumping on opportunities isn't necessarily something that you would do very often, because you like to think through the consequences of everything that you do before you do it. Right? Always 15 steps ahead as a Scorpio. This is asking you to move on trust this week. Just trust that it's the right thing to do and jump, rather than waiting to see if anybody else jumps, waiting to see how deep the hole is, any of that kind of thing. Like, you need not to do that this week, Scorpio. It's about just grab your nose and just jump straight in. What should Scorpio avoid this week? Avoid sitting still, right? We've got the King of Pentacles here. Now, he is, he's a really good card for slow, measured progression, building things up from an Ace of Pentacles right up to right up from the acorn to the oak tree. But the King of Pentacles is the king of delayed gratification, which is something that, Scorpio, you do know something about too, right? You can be very fucking patient when it comes to, when it comes to everything, actually. This isn't a week for that. We've got the King of Pentacles and the Six of Wands in reverse. If you sit and try and exercise a little bit too much in the way of patience, a little bit too much in the way of delayed gratification, you will miss things this week, and we don't want that for you. Tell me about the King of Pentacles and the Six of Wands. What do we have here? Yeah, we have the Devil, whatever that was. Six of Cups. And the King of Pentacles again, right, yeah. All of which is speaking about being stuck in the past. Like, Scorpio, you are different now. You are morphing into an entirely different creature, right? Elevating up, if you will, into either, you know, eagle or phoenix status. But this is absolutely a week for letting go of the old ways in which you have done things. Now, it's not to say you need to, you know, make them entirely redundant, because I think a lot of aspects of you like that, like your ability to sit and wait things out, your ability to think 15 steps ahead, stuff like that. It's an incredible skill set, but it's about discerning the best time to use that, and when is the best time to be just here and now, just doing the things as they're appearing, you know. If you default back to old ways of doing things with new possibilities, it's just like I was saying to, was it Leo, I think, possibly, like you're trying to write a new story with an old script, right? That's already done, that's been done. We're doing things in a new way now. There's the other Fool at the bottom of the deck again. Take the leap. I don't think that you'll regret it. Okay. Let's tidy all of these up again. Such a beautiful day outside. I will get out there eventually at some point today for a bit. So we will move on to Sagittarius. Fuckity. So, could I have a theme for the week for Sagittarius, Sun, Moon or Ascendant, please? Oh, here we are. I flew out, proper zoomed. We've got the Six of Swords. So, we see you leaving something behind this week, Sagittarius. It could be a physical thing, it could be a person, it could be a situation, it could be a job, it could be home, it could be all sorts of things. Or it could be a particular mindset. Because let us not forget, the swords are all about communication, right? Whether internally or externally expressed. So your thoughts, your thought patterns, the way that you think about things, or the way that you talk to other people. Now, the sixes are all about movement for me. They're always, you know, traversing away from the five. Now, the Five of Swords deals specifically with things like cognitive loops, you know, like getting stuck in negative thought patterns and difficult ways of thinking about things, or ways of thinking about things that make life difficult for yourself, you know, like overthinking and stuff like that. With this six, sees all of these swords put very neatly in a row, and we'll see you moving along. Right? So it's another day at this energy for Sagittarius, please. Oh, fuck's sake. I'll try that again. Tell me about the Six of Swords, please. Tell me about the Six of Swords. We've got the Seven of Cups and Death here. Oh, I quite like the way that this is going, Saggy, because we've got the Ace of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. What we're moving away from is any sense of emotional confusion here. Right? The Death card is almost acting like a negative modifier, like, so not this, not emotional confusion, not you being separated from the things that you want. Also, if you've been setting intent for something quite strongly, and it hasn't yet come in, I think that this might be the week where you see either the reason why it's not coming in, or it just, you know, it just starts to arrive. Because we've got this Ace of Pentacles here. We do have a tangible new start. This can be, you know, new homes, can be new jobs, promotions, it could be you expanding your business, something like that. Or it could be an opportunity to make more money. Right? Because it's all about the improvement of the material circumstances that we have. But it's also energetic currency. So I love this Seven of Cups. She's looking in a shop window, right? So where it differs from sort of standard interpretations of this deck, we've usually got somebody who's kind of silhouetted and they can't see quite what's in all of these incredible gleaming clubs. And it's almost a bit overwhelming. You know, the person who's literally stood with their hands like this, looking up at, trying to sort of see what's in the cups. Here, she's in a position where she can eyeball everything, right? She can see exactly what is in each one of these cups. And one assumes that there is a decision that needs to be made, but you're in the best possible place for being able to make that decision, because you can see into all of the cups. Now, the only thing that's standing between her and the cup in this card is the glass window of the shop. Again, not obscuring your view, but bringing that level of, you know, resistance, of interference in what it is that you want. I can see my daughter walking down the road there, and where she's been. She looks very warm. Shorts on. The important thing is, with this Death card here and with the Six of Swords, like I said, this is either you going, actually none of these cups are any good, and kind of walking away from it. But I feel like that's less likely than actually you choosing to walk into the shop, like not just staring at it through the window anymore. It's like realizing what is standing between you and what you want. And in this point, it is a glass window, you know. I'm going, right, I'm going to go and get that thing. I'm going to go and take it. I understand why I couldn't have it quite yet, but now I know how to get it, and I'm going to go and get it. For some of you, it could be the understanding that actually none of those cups contain things that you want. And that's where the movement's coming from. That's where you're walking away from it. You go, actually, I don't want, you know, jewels or, you know, treasure or any kind of thing like that. I actually want to go and sit in the sunshine, because that's more valuable to me. In which case it could be a refining of your values, you know, where you choose to spend your energetic currency. Tell me about love and relationships, interpersonal or otherwise, please. We have the World. So we could have something coming to completion this week. There's a lot of completion happening here between the Universe and the Death card, or the World and the Death card, and the beginning of something new. Ooh. Tell me what Sagittarius is. What's completing for Sagittarius, please? Both down here, we have got the King of Pentacles. That's Earth sign energy, and the Ten of Pentacles here. So, the King of Pentacles is Taurus energy, but it could indicate a Virgo, or it could indicate the other one, Capricorn. Gosh, that's literally my ascendant. I completely forgot, right? If you're dealing with an Earth sign, it could be an end of the way that things have been done, because what we've got next to it is the Ten of Pentacles, which is a card of commitment. Just as the King of Pentacles actually implies a level of commitment too, because he's the King of delayed gratification, right? It's about planting that Ace of Pentacles, which was at the bottom of the deck for you there. And putting in the effort in the right ways, taking no shortcuts, being patient, and allowing, you know, this thing to grow into what it's going to be. It could be that it's an end of the wait for you, quite honestly, Sagittarius, because this World card's kind of a bit barren. It's a little bit cold. What we could see here is it being your patience that's paying off now. You're getting exactly what it is that you wanted, whether this is a job, something to do with your business, something to do with your home. But being in the interpersonal relationships and love and, you know, any kind of relationship zone, don't get the feeling that you're doing this necessarily alone. It could be that there's a level of commitment from you towards a partner, or a partner, in fact, towards you, for you to work together to build something that is more impressive than what you could manage on your own. That's possible too. Because the World card seems to be you stepping out of that, not necessarily isolated, but certainly slightly barren landscape into something that's much more fulfilling. Very intriguing indeed. But it's interesting that they're both pentacles. You know, the Sagittarian energy is often, you know, considered to be non-committal. Frankly, you know, it is what it is. Right? Sagittarians are always very busy and zooming, and it's about as opposite to Taurus energy, which is fixed earth, as it's possible to get. But there's something of the delayed gratification that you have experienced here. Or that you have practiced, that seems to be bearing some fruit, giving you some rewards this week. And that work and material environment, all those things. Ooh, we've got the Two of Swords, but it's in the reverse. So, if there has been something that you have been struggling with recently, a decision that's been needed to be made, but you haven't quite known what was the best way to go around it, whether it was, you know, what you actually had to do yourself, or, you know, whether it was people that you needed to get on board with something for you. It looks to me like this week you work out what you're not seeing. Maybe something glaringly obvious that's just been there the whole time. Or maybe you saw it, but maybe somebody else didn't, you know? But whatever it is, you know how to make the decision that you need to make, and you know what the decision is. Right? There's the Two of Swords in the upright talks about, you know, that kind of willful blinding to all of these things. The Two of Swords is about tapping into your intuition and your emotional state and using all of the information that is at your disposal in order to come to a decision. And it looks like you have come to a decision about something. Tell me about this Two of Swords, please. We have the World card again. And the Queen of Swords. Preceded by the Eight of Swords, right? So the Eight of Swords are the ways in which you have been stuck, right? And that is a similar sort of message here to the Two of Swords, except that this is the ways in which you have mentally restricted yourself. So there is something about the way that you have been approaching something in your material environment where you were just kind of thinking about it in too narrow a way. And as you shifted your thought processes around, and this is a week where you're changing your perspective on stuff and you are, you know, thinking about things slightly differently, you've kind of seen that you've kept yourself stuck in a very narrow mode of thinking, which seems to come to an absolute abrupt end as you come very decisively to the answer for the problem, whatever it is. We've got this Queen of Swords here. She's very discerning energy, very, very smart energy. This is like a really smart way around of dealing with a problem that you've had, Sagittarius. And it all comes about simply because you were thinking about things in too narrow a way. Now, I find it interesting that we've got the World card carrying across both from your love and relationships and into your work and money and material environment. And I said it felt like this was something to do with somebody else. Like this feels inextricably linked here. An issue that you've been having in the material, or maybe even that somebody else has been having in the material, like you coming to a really smart answer to the problem. Just because you choose to think about it slightly differently. No. And we have the Chariot card at the bottom of the deck. This is not only movement and really strong movement, and you know, you're a Sag, we know you like movement, right? It goes with the territory. But this is about setting goals and then being able to achieve them. This is about going in a direction and succeeding, being victorious. So, Saji, I don't know what's going on with you this week. Well, I do sort of know what's going on with you, but What I mean is it's going to be different for each of you. But it seems to me like you are going to absolutely nail a wonderful idea this week. And it fixes something for you, but not just for you, also with people around you that are important to you. Like, it's a really good idea, and it's the most logical thing. And I think you're probably going to be annoyed with yourself that you didn't think about it before, to be honest, because it's so glaringly obvious. It's just there and staring you in the face. What should Sagittarius be focusing on this week, please? Thank you. Have the Page of Swords with the High Priestess. Now that's an interesting combination. The High Priestess is about intuition and higher wisdom. And I think that a lot of you Sagittarians are actually working from much more of a sensitive, intuitive place than you probably ever have done before. Now, you're a very intuitive sign anyway, you know. And I think half of it is that observational power that you've got. You just see everything, you know. And sometimes you don't even pay that much attention to what you see, but there's something whirring along in the background and really creatively putting things together. I think what you're doing here is starting to trust that more. And for whatever reason, and I don't know what the reason is, it's not something that you've been comfortable with up until this point. It's almost like you've had confirmation in a way that you can't really ignore, that your intuition is absolutely on point. And now what's shifting in your mind is how you make decisions, how your worldview is changing. In fact, the way that you process information and everything is changing in light of the fact that you seem to have something inside of you that you can tap into that is guiding you in a way that you didn't give a lot of credit to before. Tell me about Page of Swords, please. Here you are, Saggy. It's a really strong presentation of energy. There you are, as the Knight of Wands. But we also have the Two of Wands preceding it here. We've got another card of decision making, but this is really active decision making. It's not just the absence of ignoring important things here. This is about you very consciously bringing yourself to a crossroads and going, right, I need to make decisions about which way I am going to go. And making them. But making them from an intuitive place, rather than trying to think your way out of the situation. This is an extraordinary reading, Sag. What should Sagittarius avoid this week? Ace of Swords. That's interesting. Like, it fits really beautifully. It's not about thinking really, really hard, right? It's not about using your 3D brain. It's about tapping into this which you have recently had confirmation is actually, you know, bob on when it comes to needing to, well, just being guided. Right? You are being guided. The Temperance card at the bottom of the deck here, you know, whether that's by your higher self or guardian angels or however you want to see it, your intuition is connection to something that is pulling you in a particular direction. And it feels like you can't really ignore it anymore. You can't not give it the credit anymore for the ways in which you are navigating around in the world. Two of Pentacles. It's not about leading with your head. It's about leading with your heart, Sagittarius. You know, you're a fire sign. And whether it's intuition or psychicism or, you know, whatever, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't even really matter that you understand it, to be honest. What matters is that you feel it and you act on it. And what you really need to avoid this week is trying to find ways of justifying to yourself why you're doing the things that you are doing. Because it kind of brings in an element of doubt that you really don't need, right? You're an instinctive creature. You have an instinct about something. You have an intuition about something. You just fucking do it. Just like that, you know? Don't give it second thought. Don't try and intellectualize it. Don't try and understand it even, because it could well be that whatever this is at this point beyond your comprehension. And it's not requesting that you spend any time understanding it. It's requesting that you act on it, you know? How bizarre. Right, let's move on to Capricorn. Sun, Moon, or Ascendant. Can I have a theme for the week for Capricorn, please? We have the Eight of Wands. So we have dialogue being the order of the week for you. Like in the Llewellyn, we've got those arrows going, those wands going both ways. Now that's not always depicted that way on tarot cards. Often they talk about an increase in momentum, but we've got a whole 8 wands coming into land, you know, so it could be news coming into you, or, you know, you delivering news at someone. This is conversation, because the wands are coming both ways. I just mute this. My children have just started having a conversation on Discord. Go away. And my laptop is painfully slow. Please, thank you. Mute. There we go. Right. Let's proper shovel. What's the best way for the Capricorn to navigate this 8 of Wands energy this week, please? Wow. So the first card out is the Devil. That's the card of Capricorn in the Major Arcana. Had 2 cards that fell to the right there. I'm not going to take them, but I am going to show them to you because I think they're relevant. We've got the Temperance card and we've got the Knight of Cups. So we have, you know, healing and hope and balance here. And we also have leading from the heart, Capricorn, like coming from a heart space rather than an intellectual one. Can I have another card for the 8 of Wands, please? Whoa, shit, that's not one card. That's fucking millions of cards. Maybe you've got a lot to say about the 8 of Wands. I've got the Queen of Wands. So you could be dealing with a fire sign. Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. But even if you're not, oh God, my legs. The best way for you to navigate this energy this week is to show up and be seen. Like Capricorn, it's about you being you, right? Bringing you to the table, but you proper, not the front of you, you know? We're talking about vulnerabilities and internal stuff here. The Queen of Wands is an energy of being seen, right? There's no part of the Queen of Wands that escapes scrutiny here, because she can, you know, everybody can see her and she's literally lit up like this. Like the spotlight is on you and how you deal with things this week, Capricorn. Like it's talking about a need for honesty and good, clear communication. Now, it's not escaped my notice that we are in Mercury retrograde, and that does make things a little bit stickier. But I think that if you actually keep this simple, not try and you know, approach this conversation differently to the way that you usually approach conversations. You know, this is an opportunity to state very simply those emotions that you have inside of you, because they feel very complicated. But Capricorn, the reason that they feel complicated is because you don't let them out, right? It's almost like, I don't know, it's just the most ridiculous example in my head, right? But like, I know aliens coming to Earth and then being charged to look after cats, and they're like, shit, these are miniature killing machines, you know, they will execute small animals. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with them. And it's like, well, you literally just put some food in a bowl and then open the door and let them out, and then, like, you know, 6 hours later let them in again, and then give them some more food, and they'll go to sleep. Like, they're actually really simple creatures, but because you have no experience of dealing with them, it feels so much more complicated than it is. And this week it seems like the practice of opening your mouth and just letting them out, keeping it as simple as possible, even that if that involves by necessity you kind of revealing parts of yourself that you are not comfortable in doing, like, that is the best way. Like, let the light in, let yourself be seen as you are, because there are lots of things that you struggle with, Capricorn, and I think one of the huge parts of that is seeing yourself as other people see you. You have to let people see you properly before you can get a sense of how other people see you, right? So tell me about love and relationships, interpersonal relationships. We have the Tower. Now, if you watched the June reading, you know, there was a sense of, it really stuck with me, that reading, actually, because it was, my God, it was uncomfortable, but with great opportunity contained therein. So the Tower is sudden, shocking energy, right? It is really destabilizing your foundation, and we know how, as an earth sign, you don't like this, right? But as I said in the June reading, this is an opportunity to fix something that may be really quite important to you. Now, you know, the received wisdom of the Tower is that it indicates something that has been built on faulty foundations. Well, I would go a little bit further, and I would say it's something that's possibly been built on all right foundations, but then hasn't been maintained properly. This is your opportunity to do some maintenance. You know, maybe the storm isn't quite as bad as it could be, but then I did get a very strong sense of it being a kind of make or break. It's a crunch situation, Capricorn, and there is at least one person around you who needs you to see how you encase yourself in towers, like how far away you pull yourself from people, you know? Like, Capricorns sometimes get accused of being cold, and it's it's not fair. Actually, it's not fair, because you're not cold. You've just been taught that your emotions weren't valid, and so you then sort of proceed on that basis, you know, with everything. And so you find different ways to express your affection and your love for people than actual emotions. Like, you'll work your fucking arse off for people. You will provide. That is what you do. You will build. You will have a 5-year plan, and you will fucking smash through that 5-year plan in order to make sure that the people that you care about have a life that, you know, is materially comfortable. It's not cutting it anymore. This is the card of Scorpio, and this is a card of absolutely blowing shit up, right? Now, the good thing about the Tower is it is a course correction. If this is important to you, and I actually feel like it is, then this is an opportunity to fix something that may leave otherwise, right? And by something, I mean your relationship may leave. If it's not an intimate relationship, if it is a friendship, if it is a family member, the same still fucking applies. This person feels like they're kind of reaching the end of their tether with something about the way that you interact with them. And ultimately, I do feel it's because they don't feel... I feel like you're talking different languages when it comes to the expression of emotion, right? I couldn't have put it better myself. Three of Swords, Ace of Cups. Right? There's wounds here. There are wounds. Even that, look, there's got the Five of Cups has fallen out to the side. Not a cup that I'm going to take, but it really adds another layer to this, because there are several layers to this already. Like, somebody around you is hurting and you have an opportunity to fix this. That's why the Tower's here. This is why the Tower is blowing up, right? But more than that, there is also an opportunity here for you to notice your own pain, your own wounding, and why it is that you are the way that you are, why it is that you don't feel like expression of emotion is a useful thing, you know, either in relationships or, you know, any kind of situation at all, really. It's an opportunity for you to renew, right? Develop like, I see tarot readers all the time saying Ace of Cups is new love, and it is, right? But with the way that I read, it always comes back to the self. This is all about how you see yourself and how you like yourself. And Capricorn, that is very fucking little. Very fucking little. I have yet to meet a single Capricorn who likes themselves. I know a few. I absolutely do. And they're all absolutely filled with self-loathing. All of them. Like, and it's madness. It's absolutely madness. But it comes from the fact that you don't see yourself correctly. And you don't see yourself correctly because you never got an opportunity to be fully yourself. It was always about what you did, what you achieved, rather than who you were and what you felt. And actually, inside you, Capricorn, there is a very sensitive soul, which by necessity, in order to protect yourself, you have had to wall away. Right? Because otherwise, well, this. The thing is, though, it does feel very much like it is restricting you. It is stopping you from living the fullest version of your life that you could possibly have. And so not only is this an opportunity to correct this situation, you know, with another person, whoever it is, but it's an opportunity to really see something going on here with you. Now, here's an interesting fact. Like, I am a Capricorn ascendant, right? And I discovered that Saturn and Pluto are both transiting really fucking hard right over my first house at the moment. So my Capricorn, this is really, really difficult energy, Capricorn. I remember somebody commented on the June reading for Capricorn and went, oh, this doesn't seem fair. Like, everybody's getting these incredible, you know, readings of, like, you know, aces and the Fool, and they're getting all of these new starts, and Capricorn's getting kicked in the fucking teeth. And yeah, you could see it that way. And as someone with a Capricorn ascendant, I have felt a little bit victimized in that way. But honestly, as soon as I realized that's what it was, I was like, oh, I don't know why I'm fucking fighting it then, because in a face-off between me and Saturn and Pluto, there's no way I'm coming off the winner. It's just not going to happen. So where do I submit, right? Where do I tender my resignation to this fight, and where do I allow what is happening to actually come in and happen for me, right? Because Pluto is very much concerned with transformation. It is blowing up an old version of you. Saturn is, it's about where you put in your effort, right? Where you commit yourself to. It is your chart ruler, right? So this is particularly difficult and challenging, right? It's that disapproving parent, the one that expects a certain level of standards and behavior and commitment from you to a thing, you know. There's huge karmic overtones for it as well. And so, you know, karma being the consequences of your actions, but also the consequences of the self-protection mechanisms that you put in place at the hands of perhaps a disapproving parent, perhaps, you know, a narcissistic parent, you know, however it applies to you, whatever it was that ended up having you shoving all of your emotional stuff under the bed, never to look at it again for decades. You're being given an opportunity to renew. You're being given an opportunity to save something that is important to you. But more than that, you're being given an opportunity to save yourself, Capricorn. So rather than fighting this, rather than trying to win the argument for win the argument's sake, where do you submit? Where can you submit? You know? I'm sorry to be delivering like heavy messages again to you. I feel bad. Tell me about work and money and material environment, please. We have the Two of Cups in reverse. Do you know what? I think that you're taking your eye off the ball with those things this week. I think the possibility of separation. There's that Five of Cups at the bottom of the deck again. The possibility of separation away from someone that is important to you, I think, has you completely changing your mind altogether. But it really shifting your focus. Yeah. Actually see you. Without somebody to provide for, without somebody to make all of this working have a point. What is the point? That's what I'm hearing. This is what I'm feeling here. It feels like suddenly all of the effort that you've put in over the years to be provider and all that kind of thing, it feels like tower energy. You're like, why the fuck have I done all of this? Like, I thought I was doing it for the right reasons, but now I'm actually looking at this person who is broken-hearted in front of me, and I'm being faced with my own fucking wounding and all the ways in which I have emotionally restricted myself, and suddenly I don't give a shit about my job. I don't give a shit about all of these things that I've worked really hard to bring in. It's not actually quite as important as I thought it was. It feels to me very much like your material environment. Nothing's changed. Nothing's changing in it. It's every bit as good as it always has been. Hierophant, Six of Cups, like, it's good. It's really good. What's missing is the importance of it. You know? What's missing is honestly, Capricorn, it feels like this week you just don't give a shit about any of that. Like, you just don't give a shit about it. There's too much going on emotionally for you to pay attention to it. Like, it's there, it's not going anywhere, it's all fine. This requires a huge shift in attention away from that. I just don't think that you've got the spoons to even think about work with everything else that's going on, to think about money. I don't see any of it really even entering your mind, other than I thought I was doing the right thing. But I see now how my partner or my family member or my friend, you know, whoever it is, but it feels like it's a very close relationship, Capricorn. I see how it has left them feeling isolated. It has left them feeling alone. It's left them feeling on the other side of the tower that I've been sat at the top at, you know, putting in the next level of brickwork, you know, over and over again. And actually what they wanted was for me to just go and sit with them. We sit together and look at the tower. Look what I built. Isn't it cool? Let's go and get an ice cream, you know? What's your Capricorn focus on this week? Fuck my life. I fucking totally bent that card there. That was a rank amateur mistake. Put that back in. Right. What's your Capricorn focus on this week? Strength. Now, strength is not about wrestling ball. Strength is not about beating the shit out of enemies or anything like that. What we're talking about here is a really fundamental sense of strength. It's got the King of Wands at the bottom of the deck. We're talking about strength in a Leo sense, obviously, because this is a Leo card and this is a Leo card. We're talking about strength in terms of a willingness to be vulnerable, a willingness to be seen being vulnerable. Because it's all very well to be vulnerable when you're by yourself, you know, and allow yourself a little thought of, you know, God, I'm really miserable because of this, that and the other. And then, you know, as soon as somebody else comes along, be like, right, no, I'm back to Capricorn ways of doing things. I'm just going to achieve, you know, and then like berate yourself for the weakness that you felt of even, you know, entertaining emotional responses that you had about something, right? Just get rid of that. This is about having the strength to grow. Right, Capricorn, you've achieved so very fucking much, but in the end, what is it for? Because a long time ago you decided that the way that you showed your care, your love, your affection for people was to provide for them. How far down the other way have you gone? Like, how far down that road have you gone? It is possible for you to return, and this whole month is about that for you, but it's about changed behavior. Not just about saying the right thing, you know, at the right time, not even about winning the argument, right? It's about listening and actually hearing what this person is saying, and then working out, if you want to, how you are going to change your life to respond to it. Because, you know, you really are kind of emotionally stuck now. You kind of plateaued emotionally a long time ago because you've not let yourself grow. Well, here is your opportunity for growth, and it's probably not going to be very comfortable, Capricorn, but it is nonetheless important. Right? And you never want to shy away from a challenge, right? The work ethic of a Capricorn is absolutely stunning. If you could take that and apply it to your family situation, to your relationships, all of these, you'd be absolutely unstoppable. I always used to say about my ex-husband, who was a Capricorn, that he'd absolutely take over the world. Like, he could. He was every bit as capable as necessary to be, you know, leader of the world. So it couldn't be asked. Wasn't interested. Liked his work too much, which is probably a good thing for the rest of us, but, you know. Yeah. We've got the Seven of Cups and we've got the Knight of Swords, right? Death card at the bottom of the deck. Transformation. This is a week for feeling the fear, feeling the destabilization of it, feeling the emotional confusion, and actually allowing yourself to sit with that, because it needs to come out. It needs to come out, and we see that here with the Knight of Swords. It needs to be spoken about. Somebody needs to hear this, and maybe just maybe, Capricorn, it might be you. Maybe you actually need to hear yourself say these words aloud so that you can understand the full extent of how stuck you have been for a long time, you know? Part of your transformation. I mean, Pluto, absolutely kicking the shit out of you. Let's have a look and see what you should avoid this week. Got the Judgment card. With the King of Cups, more Scorpio energy. It actually feels like you should avoid. Whoa, I got that. Fucking King of Pentacles and Strength card. Honestly, understanding how you got to where you are is really useful, but I don't actually think that it's much of a mystery for most of you. I think intellectually you have an appreciation of exactly how you got to be the way that you are. You're all smart cookies, right? You know this. What has been missing has been your willingness to deal with it, right? With your willingness to change your behavior. because because it's scary, particularly for somebody who is not at all comfortable with being a beginner about something. You know, with somebody who is used to achieving, used to doing really, really well at stuff. We've got the King of Pentacles, the Strength card, and the Three of Pentacles down there. I think the biggest judgment of all is not going to come from this other person, and I think that you know that. I think the biggest judgment of all is going to come from you toward you, and half of the problem is that you're not entirely sure that you can deal with that, right? It's almost like the ego narrative that you've written for yourself, and I'm not saying that in any kind of pejorative way at all. We all have an ego and we all have a narrative. You know, it's actually part of our identity, right? It tells us how we define ourselves, how we understand who we are. I think that your ego narrative actually might implode if you really engaged with this, because you have to see yourself differently by necessity. And I don't think that you've ever felt ready for it, but these transits are saying the time is now, Capricorn. You can't really avoid this anymore. I mean, you can, but you might lose an awful lot in the process, and half of the things that you might lose are actually things that are really important to you, the things that you really want to keep hold of. So I'm sorry that the message is not any more positive. Well, no. You see, I'm going to catch myself there, because this is positive. This is supremely positive. This is not somebody going, fuck you, I'm out of here. That's not what's going on here. This is somebody saying, help. You know, this relationship is really important to me, but I don't feel like it's quite as important to you. This is an incredible opportunity to fix something here, and they don't always come along, right? Sometimes people just pick themselves up and they go, and they leave you reeling and not knowing what, you know, why or what happened or anything, you know. That's not what's happening. You've got an opportunity to fix this, and you've got an opportunity to fix yourself, more importantly, in the process. That can't be sniffed at. So let's move on to Aquarius. I have a card for the theme for the week for Aquarius, please. Ooh, what do we have here? We have the Page of Swords with the Fool at the bottom of the deck. So Fool is, you know, new energy. It's the start of a new cycle for sure. And we've actually seen this for Aquarius for quite a while. No, it's a good month or so that this sort of energy has been coming through here. Ooh, followed by the Ace of Swords. That's interesting and very useful energy. But the Page of Swords is about adjusting your thinking, right? Possibly to take in new information that's coming in, right? It might be that you're having new ideas. You're putting together things inside your head about stuff. How should Aquarius navigate this energy? For fuck's sake. Right. We have got the Six of Cups, and we have the Fool again, and we have the Fool at the bottom of the deck, because there are two Fools in the Triple Goddess, and I always forget that until they both come out in a reading, right? And here they are. Fool energy. 2 decks, 3 Fools. Major new start. Now, whether that is, you know, you moving, whether it is, you know, you starting again somewhere else, starting a job, whatever it is, or whether this is something really inside you that is birthing, coming out, doesn't really matter, right? Either is great, to be honest. The Page of Swords, I keep saying this quite recently, but it's been coming up a lot. You know, a mind stretched by a new idea will never go back to its original proportions, and that is where you are right here, Aquarius, because we have got your mind stretching, and, you know, like I said, right behind this Fool, we've got a new idea. Now, it isn't just it isn't just good ideas, it isn't just new ideas. Sometimes it's new perspectives. Sometimes it's a new piece of information that comes to you that opens your eyes, and now you process the world differently. You know, all of these are relevant. But what I do see is is you growing beyond a past version of you. Like, you are just not fitting in your original dimensions anymore. So whether it is that there's something in your material existence that needs to change, maybe relationships that need to change because you have outgrown them, or whether it is that you've just grown so much recently. And there's been a lot of struggle with you, Aquarius. Like, there have been a lot of things that you've been wrestling with internally. Whether as you are coming out the other side of that, the realization is that you are just so different now, that you can't fit into the old dimensions of your life, you know? Relationships for Aquarius, please. I've got the Page of Pentacles. So we've got you understanding the value of what you have around you in terms of love and relationships, whether they are, you know, intimate relationships or just, you know, your interpersonal relationships, your friends and your family and stuff like that. It can indicate a new path and a new start. And honestly, with the amount of newness around you here, I do feel like there is an aspect of you showing up differently rather than it necessarily you starting a new relationship. But look how that page there is looking at the pentacle. It's about understanding value. And I think maybe you understand some of your own intrinsic value a little better than you did before. Tell me about this. You've got, yeah, it's definitely personal. We have the Six of Pentacles and we have the Queen of Pentacles. It could be that you've been quite difficult to be around for a little bit, Aquarius. Right? Which is completely understandable because, like I said, I do feel like you've been struggling with things a little bit. And if you're anything like me, and you know, Leo and Aquarius are opposite on the zodiac, so there are a lot of similarities. When I've got a mind full of stuff, the last thing that I want is to be around fucking people. It really is. I need quiet. And by quiet, you know, I just need to go and sit in the fucking woods or something, or turn music up really, really loud so I can't actually think. So it's so loud it interrupts my thought patterns because something else comes to the surface when that happens. My subconscious can talk to me a little easier when my brain's not getting in the way. But you've stabilized now, Aquarius. Whatever it was that you were struggling with, it really seems to have leveled out now. It's balanced. And you are taking better care of yourself as a result. Now, the corollary of that is that you are taking better care of your relationships around you because you're showing up in a cleaner way. You're showing up in a more present way, actually, I think. We've got down here, we've got the Justice card followed by the Six of Cups. The second time the Six of Cups has appeared for you here, but this time with the Justice card of Libra, but it's a card of consequences and karma. The consequences and karma of your past seem perhaps like they may have caught up with you. And now what you're struggling with is actually not that big a deal. It's not fitting into the old dimensions of who you are. And you know what? That's okay. That's growth. It's fine. But all of your relationships will benefit when you are more comfortable with yourself, when you are feeling more stable, and when you are taking care of yourself and not. I don't think it's an Aquarian thing to lean on other people to look after them, but there is the abandonment of looking after yourself at all that you need to be aware of. So, you know, that's a thing. Tell me about work and material environment, money. Got the Four of Swords. Is that an Aquarian card? Not quite, no. It's Libra, I think. That's interesting. We had the Justice card as well. Tell me that Four of Swords. Ooh, Wheel of Fortune. That. And the Chariot. Yeah. So, I think your withdrawal from people has been a withdrawal pretty much all round of everything. Right? The Four of Swords does talk about that stepping back, that withdrawal, and it's to heal. That's the point of it. But it also gives you an opportunity to be objective, take a step back from something. We've got the Wheel of Fortune here, which does indicate an improvement in fortunes. It can indicate something kind of really surprising coming in for you, except that it isn't a surprise and it isn't random. It's because you've learned something really important, right? The wheel is always turning. It's always paying attention. And it feels very much like you're coming out of withdrawal. Maybe your business is opening back up. Maybe where you work is opening back up. You've been on furlough for a while or something like that. What we've got now, though, is an improved version of you returning to something. Now, like I said, you can't fit into the dimensions of your own life, your old life. So I do feel like there are going to be some shifts and some changes, but I think that part of what this withdrawal process has revealed for you is that you've got bigger goals, you've got loftier ambitions, and now you know what they are. You're setting those and you're moving towards them. You're definitely set on the path toward them. Because you've grown, my dear. I keep saying it, but you've outgrown your old life. There is new stuff that needs to come in for you. And all of this has been about clearing the space so that you can go after what feels more like purpose than anything else that I've read for you in a long time, Aquarius. And I don't even know how material this particularly is. It could be something quite galactic, given that it's you, you know. It could be an increased sense of connection to the universe, source, you know, whatever it is you're tapping into. Working with spirit, maybe, you know. Actually being a participant rather than an observer, which is something that it feels like you've been for a while. Like knowing what your part is to play in it. Ooh, big. What Aquarius should focus on this week, please? We have the Knight of Pentacles. With this Gemini card of the Lovers at the bottom of the deck. Now that's conscious co-creation, right? That's working in tandem with, in union with something. Now if you are, you know, a spiritually inclined Aquarian, it could be that you've had some the shit that you've been dealing with recently has been about clearing the way, clearing energy, clearing your connection. Because it feels like there's something that wants to work with you rather than you want to work with something. Maybe you've had a lot of downloads recently as part of your healing process. And that's something that you're now starting to work towards with this Virgo energy of the Knight of Pentacles. Right? But it is slow, measured progression. The interesting thing is that we have these kind of these higher, more esoteric themes kind of coming out over here. But then what we have is a way of condensing it into the 3D, into how you act down here, what you value down here, you know, where you put all of your energy. So we have the Knight of Pentacles, please. We have the Five of Swords with the King of Swords. And we have the Four of Wands down there. You're building something new, Aquarius. It's almost like a phoenix energy is what I'm feeling here, is what I just heard, right? We're going from something that was kind of difficult and that you've struggled with. It was very challenging over here, and it was definitely part of your makeup as an Aquarian. But now really kind of being able to stand in who you are, really knowing who you are, and building something new off the back of it, creating a new foundation. And it is one that you're building here that does feel like it has, and I said, this kind of esoteric bent to it somewhat. Even if you're not, you know, practicing any kind of spiritual modality, it's that you can see things. You can see things now that you couldn't see before, in whatever sense that applies. And I shall leave that down to you. So, we shall move on finally to Pisces. Have a card for a theme for the week for Pisces, please. Thank you. We have the Four of Swords. We have the Death card at the bottom of the deck, which I like. Tell me about this Four of Swords. Oh, yeah, okay. Right. We have you looking for your peace this week. Pisces, I think you've had enough. There's conflict, possibly conflict around you, but possibly not. If there is any conflict, you've either harmonized it, right? You've either done your Pisces magic on it, or you have walked away from it. I'm inclined to think that you have walked away because we have directly after it the Eight of Cups. We have directly after that the Magician. I just don't see you playing the game anymore, right? That's why I don't feel like you've actually poured oil on this. I think this is about you protecting your peace right here, withdrawing potentially, perhaps, almost certainly, and moving away from any kind of vexatious situations that you find yourself in, right? Because you're the fucking Magician this week, Pisces. It's all about manifesting what you want, right? What are you trying to bring in towards you? Because this is when it happens. We've got the Death card at the bottom of the deck, which is also lending itself to this notion of you being able to transform your circumstances and be very much in control of what is going on with you, right? It's not about other people. We see that here with this Queen of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. This is about you looking after you, putting yourself first, nurturing yourself, all those sorts of things, you know. But it's all about, it all seems to be about focusing your attention on what it is that you're manifesting for yourself at the moment. Let's say, moving away from vexatious spirits. Talking about love and interpersonal relationships. Ooh. We have the Three of Cups. So, the ones that remain are the ones that are good for you. I feel like you've walked away from, like I said, vexatious spirits. The people who... somebody commented, one of the Pisces commented, I've been walking around in my head telling everybody, well, I've been walking around all week telling everyone to fuck off. Inside my head, of course, because you're a Pisces. Yeah, if it was an Aries or a Scorpio or someone like that, I probably would have said it aloud, but because you're Pisces, say it in your head. And I think that you've done that. I think that you've cleared your energy of all of those people. Now the people that remain are the people that are true. People that remain are your tribe. They're the people that get it. They understand why you're doing what you're doing at the moment, why you're making the changes that you are, and they are entirely supportive of that. Tell me about the Three of Cups. We've got the Knight of the Knight of Swords, and also the Justice card, which is really nice, actually. That's really nice. Like, we've got Gemini and Libra energy there. But it feels very much like these are the people that you can entrust with anything, actually. You know, that it's really solid tribe. They understand where you're going. They know why you're going that way, and they know that it's the right thing for you. They are entirely supportive. And with this Justice card here, it's almost like you don't have to explain it to them. They know, they get it, they understand. It's really strong. But more than that, they understand the consequences of you not doing this, and they don't want to see that for you either. A really good group of people that you've got around you, Pisces. Even if that is only one or two people, it doesn't matter. It's quality over quantity, and you've done a lot of sifting. You know, these are the people that you could actually take yourself over to the other side of the planet and only speak to every 3 months, and it's not going to matter. There's not going to be any judgment there about any of it from them, you know. Let's look at work and materials, money, that sort of thing. Oh, hopped out. We've got the Empress, so this is looking really good, particularly with the Ten of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck here. So I would see the Empress as, well, she is fertility and abundance, right? She is the creation of new things. She literally births new life, right? You are currently in the process of birthing a new life for yourself, a new material existence, one that you can actually lay down roots and be happy with as well. It doesn't feel transient to me, Pisces, which is interesting. It feels like this move that you make, you're going to be able to be there for quite a long time, whether that is work or whether that is a home, you know, if you're relocating, you know, whatever it is. It does feel like you'll be able to do that, and I do feel like you want to do that too, you know. I do feel that very, very strongly. I mean, we've got the Empress with the star, with strength and the star. I mean, that's lovely. That really is lovely. This week, it feels like it becomes more than, it becomes a reality, right? This is how it feels. It really feels like it's coming to life now in front of you. It's not just something that you've spoken about. It's not just tickets that you've booked. It's not just, I don't know, houses that you've gone to look at. This week it feels like it's perhaps the week where you start signing contracts or you start paying for things. You know, it's solid. It's an absolute solid start, and it's just so fucking beautiful and peaceful. And you've got all of this emotional support over here from this good group of people, but you are moving out here on your own. There are singular figures here, and this is exactly as you want it. And we've got the Six of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. Like, everything's just beautifully balanced. You've done an incredible job of bringing something really profoundly into alignment that has been out of alignment for a very long time, and you never complained about it. You just did it because it was okay. And you might have had to struggle quite a bit to get to where you are, but I don't think that you would change any of it. And neither should you, because it looks like where you're going. I've said this for months, Pisces. I know, like, your intuition is top notch, and I know whatever it is that you've got planned for yourself, it's right. It's absolutely right. But there's so much peace and potential here. I think you're moving closer to water, to a river or to a lake. Yeah. Thank you. The Tower. With the Eight of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. It's focusing on the Tower is focusing on correcting the course of your existence. Right? You know, it's basically carry on what you're doing, because you have been bringing the Tower right, left, and fucking centre, and I think it's shocked a lot of people. I don't think that they realise that you had it in you. Well, more fucking fool them for not seeing you for who you were. You know, for the powerful, limitless being that you are. Look at the Tower. So we have the Three of Wands. Yeah, I'm going to take that as well because it's you. It's the Knight of Cups there for Pisces. Fuck. Won't you fuck? I'm dropping Six of Pentacles again and the Ten of Cups. I mean, yeah. Fucking Tower at the bottom of that deck as well. You continue being the disruptive little fish that you are, right? And get on with your plans, basically. Do not be deviated at all from any of this. I don't think that you will be. I think that you're too far in now, and it's too close. Like, you can smell it on the wind, right? It's here, and there's too much excitement about it. This is exactly what you wanted. We've got the Three of Wands there. It's about taking the steps towards this new life, breaking away from the old, but really, really doing it, you know. Then we have you here, cantering along in, pay attention, exactly the same direction there. It's about you moving in this direction. And then we have the Six of Pentacles and we have the Ten of Cups here. It's about maintaining balance. In your emotional relationships. Do you know what? In all the years that I've had this deck, I've never noticed that the 10 cups that are lined up on the fireplace here are kind of lined up in a similar way to the 8 of cups, in so much as there's very obviously one missing. Look at that, right at the end. Isn't that interesting? That one ace is the Ace of Cups. And that's really beautiful, because what it's saying is it's possible for you to be in a collective, but to also stand alone. And it's not just okay, it's right and proper for you as a Pisces that should be the case. I love that. That's awesome. Tell me what Pisces should avoid this week, please. We've got the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. You need to make sure that you are attending to all of your needs at all times. Now, I think with the amount of activity that's going on towards this movement, I think it might actually just be as simple as make sure that you're eating and drinking properly, right? You're not working yourself so hard. Oh, yeah, Seven of Pentacles. That you kind of neglect your own basic needs. In pursuit of the new, you know? Make sure you're looking after yourself. Make sure you're keeping hydrated. Make sure you're getting a bit of exercise. Make sure you're not working too hard as well. Yeah? Make sure that you're not thinking, oh, I'll do all of those things once I've, you know, transitioned in the way that I want to, because that, you know, those are sloppy habits to fall into, and we don't want to do that. So I'm going to leave it here. I always think I'm going to get these done faster than I do, you know, and it's like, I never do. So I hope that helped. Know that I love you all very, very much. I will see you soon.